And it looks like we're live. So good morning, everyone. Welcome into your morning drive to work / coffee talk with Jeff hangout. It's 7:47 in the a.m. here on the East Coast. Let me know what time it is in your neck of the woods. So it seems like a lot of people really want this show to continue. So I'm going to do my best to make sure it happens for you guys. If it's really successful, I'm thinking about actually getting a phone line for the show to where you can call in. It'll be like Howard Stern, except, that's just me. I don't have somebody yucking it up in the background. So if you guys really like the show, let's make it happen. So with Coffee Talk, it's the show where you guys dictate the subjects in the chat. Super Chat keeps the comments going even longer in terms of what we're going to talk about on the show. So let's start this morning with something that I just found quite interesting. So if you've read the title of this video, it's called What's the Worst Moment in the History of Star Wars? Now, I didn't just name the video that to get your attention. I found an article from Cinema Blend, What is the Worst Moment in the History of Star Wars? And it breaks down each moment in the Star Wars saga that sucks from each specific film. So, what you guys do in the comments section is you can tell me if you agree or disagree with this writer's opinion, and I'll do the same with mine. So let's get this rolling. So according to Mike Reyes of Cinema Blend, the worst moment in The Phantom Menace is P-Usa. I would say anything with Jar Jar Binks is pretty shitty, but I think the worst, without a doubt, the worst moment of episode 1 is, "Are you an angel?" I laugh every time. And yes, generic edgelord, we're just talking the movies. This is an article from Cinema Blend, so I don't think it's going to go into any of the books. But you guys can let me know down in the comments if there's some shittier moments in the books. And a good morning to you too, Dio Brando. So I'm seeing some comments about midi-chlorians and stuff like that. But I'm going to go with young Anakin Skywalker and Are You an Angel? Or Wizard, or those stupid friends of his on Tatooine, little baby Greedo. Those are some dumb moments. I hate Jar Jar. I'm not even going to deny it. But, it was terrible. So, on to the next Star Wars film. Attack of the Clones. The worst moment, according to this article, is the seduction of Padme by Anakin Skywalker at the lake. Yeah, so King KDI, you were 100% right. It is the I don't like sand line. It is the cringiest moment in Star Wars, at least in terms of this film. I remember seeing this way back in 2002, and I just was waiting for the action to kick in. Because the way this movie was marketed, everything was about Jango Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I was waiting for cool shit on Camino, and I got this really lame stuff on the booth. So George Lucas was tonally all over the place with this movie. Let's see. Revenge of the Sith. The no moment, according to this article. So I don't really consider the no moment. It's dumb. Is it the worst moment in the film? Maybe it is the cringiest. I'll tell you this. I hate when they put it into Return of the Jedi. I can't tolerate that. That just, it kills the flow. We'll talk about that tomorrow night when we do our watch party. By the way, it's 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, June the 16th. But tonight, we're celebrating Brian Lape's 50th birthday. He's a patron of our show. He's a friend of our show. And we're going to watch This Is Spinal Tap together. So if you guys want to hang out with us and watch that, just let me know, and you're all welcome. But back to this article. The Revenge of the Sith no is stupid. I'd have to go back and rewatch the film for the dumbest moment. I don't know. Maybe you're breaking my heart, Anakin. No. When that stupid droid goes, "She's dying of a broken heart." Like, that is the dumbest part. That is the dumbest part. It's just been brought to my attention that Jerry Springer may be canceled. I haven't watched Jerry Springer in, ever. I just remember my mom would watch it on her off days from work. But man, Jerry Springer, what a show. It takes me back. I used to love Jerry's Final Thoughts. I would watch clips of those on YouTube. Oh my God, A New Hope's worst moment is Greedo shooting first. I agree. I'm gonna go with the Jabba the Hutt insertion from the Special Edition trilogy. That's the worst because it serves no purpose. It's redundant. Empire Strikes Back. Oh, now you know they're reaching when you're talking about the Empire Strikes Back. The Bespin Cloud Car edition from '97. Do you guys agree with that one? I think that's kind of a bullshit cop out. I don't even really know if there's a bad. I guess that's why they put this here because there's really not a terrible part of The Empire Strikes Back. The entire special edition was bad for the original trilogy. There are moments that I stand by, especially the Battle of Yavin. I would take the Battle of Yavin special edition over any other special edition change, including the original Battle of Yavin. I'm sorry, there are just some effect shots I don't think that work. Han's delivery of "May the Force be with you" is a bad part of that movie and A New Hope. Yeah, but I think it works because he's trying, he's reaching. I don't know, he doesn't really know Luke. He feels like he thought he connected with him, then he overstepped his boundaries, and he was just trying to, wish him well for possibly the last time. Somebody did get the right one for Return of the Jedi. The Jedi Rocks musical number is retarded. Just flat out stupid. There is... I don't know how to say it. I like the old one, the Lap D Neck. That's a lot of fun. The CGI is bad. Adding more Boba Fett's dumb. I don't care. That's when George Lucas went a little off the rails. So... Oh, shit. All right. Good morning, Dio Brando. Thank you for the super chat. There are rumors Jordan Peele is rebooting Gargoyles. Get out, Goyles. That scares me. I love Key and Peele the show, and I liked the movie Keanu a lot. I'm a fan of Jordan Peele the comedian, not Jordan Peele the Black Rod Serling that he thinks he is, because there was that rumor going around that Jordan Peele was going to reboot The Twilight Zone and make it about Black America and this and that. Let Jordan Peele go off and mess around with Black Mirror on Netflix or something. You don't sully the name of The Twilight Zone. In The Twilight Zone, they're universal tales that appeal to everyone from every walk of life. Does it talk on racism? Yes. Does it talk on other things? Of course it does. But you got to not have one focus. With Jordan Peele being rumored to reboot Gargoyles, I don't like it. I don't think Gargoyles should be rebooted or remade or anything like that. It was a good cartoon from the 90s. It was a show that I watched and was aware of, but it wasn't one that I had the toys and the video games and stuff like that. Like, it's a show that came on and I watched it, but I didn't love it like everyone else. Now, I'm pretty sure the guy that created Gargoyles, I think it was Greg Weisman or something, went on to work on the Spectacular Spider-Man and some DC show, Young Justice. Those two cartoons in terms of superhero shows are two of the best ever. Spectacular Spider-Man, pardon the pun, is spectacular. You guys know how I feel about Spider-Man and all that type of stuff. And he just hit it out of the park. It was the first Spider-Man cartoon where he was in high school for all of it. And it was able to mesh the old Ditko era stuff. And you knew that some of the Romita era stuff was coming in. It was really an exciting show. And, it died a death. Just like Gargoyles. Gargoyles had some heavier themes, and it looked cool. It was back then, Disney products weren't as lame. They wanted to have boys shows and girl shows and this and that, and they tried to do all kinds of things. So I don't think Jordan Peele's the right guy. Is he into cartoons? Has he proven himself with cartoons? I mean, maybe we're going to get Gargoyles that looks like the new Thundercats. Was it the Cal art style, as they call it. I'm not down for that. Gargoyles was about atmosphere. It was a very cool urban gothic show. And I just don't think Jordan Peele's the right guy for it. D50 Production says only Donald Trump can hashtag Star Wars great again. In my preparation for this morning's show, somebody had an article that was titled, what was it titled? Episode 1 is really about President Trump. I don't think so. We're not going to get overly political. I don't mind the jokes, so don't feel bad about the chat. This isn't me chastising you. But how could Star Wars Episode 1, a movie that came out almost 20 years ago, be about President Trump? I mean, Trump was just that businessman from the 80s that had a board game and a book. He wasn't even the apprentice reality star that he became. So this is a dumb article from Matt O'Brien of the Washington Post, and I'll make fun of it later. Super chat from Corey Reeves. Good morning, Corey Reeves. Thank you. Worst part of Return of the Jedi, Hayden Christensen's Force Ghost replacement. You're not wrong. I don't think Hayden Christensen being in Return of the Jedi works. Again, I think that's George Lucas with too much power, trying to alter what didn't need to be altered. I mean, maybe there's an alternate world where George Lucas just touched up effects shots and fixed the matte paintings and did stuff like that. I don't think a lot of people would have complained about those. Would you guys have complained about it? Let me know. I think that, touching up the effect shots as well as having the originals available works. I don't think anybody's mad with more of the original Star Wars available. In the hypothetical universe that we always talk about, that other one, maybe I run the home division of Lucasfilm, and we have the original cuts, and we have these weird alternate edits where the special effects have been made modern. And, you can show those to kids, and you can always have the originals available. There's a world for both of those things. I put Hayden Christensen, those types of changes just suck to me. I don't like that at all. It is more egregious than the Jedi Rock scene, I guess, in hindsight. You gotta remember, I've seen these movies so many times that sometimes certain things just kind of become a blur, and then when somebody says it, it goes boom, it's crystal clear again. And that's the case. That didn't happen until the 2004 DVD edit. If I had my say, I would watch the first half of the original Return of the Jedi, and the second half would be the 97 cut, because I absolutely hate Yub Nub. I think the victory celebration theme from the end of Return of the Jedi is one of the best things about the special editions, as well as one of the best moments of Star Wars music in general. It works perfectly. I like the special edition changes of showing Coruscant, Bespin, Tatooine, eventually Naboo, minus the Jar Jar's Wisa free shit. Like, I'm all for all that stuff. But Hayden Christensen is just one step too far, and I don't like it. Good morning, Chaotic Neutral Bear. Thank you. I can't wait for the Gargoyles Extended Universe. I don't think you're going to have to wait very long for the Gargoyles Extended Universe. If it happens. Well, so there's Xanatos and there's the Gargoyles themselves. So is there going to be like a prequel show that takes place during, when they were the things, and then they were turned into stone, and then there's like the lady cop story and all this shit. Like, I don't remember her name. Is it Vanessa or something like that? I can remember distinctly what she looks like. She had dark hair, and I think she wore like a jacket and jeans. And then there was the grayish gargoyle, his name Goliath or something like that. And I just remember the bad guy's name was Xanatos because it sounds like Xanax. But yeah, we can have little spin-offs for everything. Every day of the week is a new Gargoyles cartoon. Planet Musk Vlog. Good morning. I study animation at Cal Arts. TC is not Cal Arts. That's just a joke EVS and I think Jeremy make. Somebody that I've talked to on here makes that joke frequently. I didn't go to art school at all. I wanted to be an illustrator, and I got paid work. But I went to school for communications and stuff like that, so I don't really know what they teach you at Cal Arts. I did look into transferring from Michigan State to go to an art school back in the day, and it just never happened. And I'm glad it didn't, because I really didn't want to move to California and do all that kind of stuff, uproot, in your junior year. So, but if that is not the Cal Arts style, then the next time they say it to me, I will let them know that. If you want to post on our Facebook some Cal Art animation, I'm all for that. Or if you want to show your animation, if you have some, we like to showcase stuff like that. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I say that with all sincerity. Show us some of your work. I'd like to see it. I love animation. I don't watch anime that much, but when I do, I watch it for the animation and the artistry behind that. So we'll get back to the article now, because this is what you guys want to hear about. The worst moment in The Force Awakens. Now, this is debatable at best. There are so many bad moments in The Force Awakens. So according to this article, The Force Awakens' worst moment is Phasma punks out under the pressure. Going into The Force Awakens, the talk surrounding Gwendolyn Christie's badass Captain Phasma had us all excited for a strong female warrior that would exemplify the effectiveness of Imperial combat training. Don't speak for me. I did not. By the time Phasma is intimidated by Finn, Han, and Chewbacca into lowering the shield generators protecting the Starkiller base with minimal coercion to boot, all of those went out the window. What replaced them was yet another bound of rage as Star Wars suits promised one thing and delivered a completely opposite thing. We're all rooting for you, Phasma. No, we weren't all rooting for her. But I do find that moment to be funny. See, here we go again. Companies are trying to get the people that write this shit that are one way, and then the people that actually consume it are another. So I'm not defending The Force Awakens because I had a lot of shit to complain about that movie. But this, to me, isn't a real big problem. I think it took these person's expectations. You talk about, your fan theories and this and that. This guy exemplifies that because he had all this shit. Oh, the strong female lead under Imperial training. It's going to be a big moment for, Star Wars films. No, it was another one-off villain, and everyone accepted the film. So this doesn't make it bad. I would argue that stuff like Rey knowing the Jedi mind trick is worse than this. Rey knowing, you know what? The worst moment is when she touches the lightsaber and all that shit happens to her. You turn something into something else. It's like was it Doomcock, that guy that put the thing about canon the other day in the Star Trek universe, and if the creator can change canon but not somebody else, people would say, well, that doesn't change canon, but it does. A lightsaber is just an instrument, a tool. There's no there's nothing in it besides that crystal and electronics and shit. It's a device. When your phone breaks or when somebody touches your phone, they got to go into it to look at all the stuff. That you don't just pick up somebody's phone and like a whole flood of memories come back. To me, that was the dumbest thing. Now we can all agree with The Last Jedi's worst moment, flying Leia. It's hard to pick one of those specific moments from The Last Jedi that had Star Wars fans spitting their Mountain Dew out in anger, as the entire film seems to be an incendiary masterpiece when it comes to garnering fan negativity. But there's one moment that inspired the most utterance of what the fucks attached to it. Just when we thought General Leia Organa had bought the farm, we're treated to a CGI fest that sees her fly back into her ship, all Mary Poppins-like, so she can go into a coma and recover for most of the film's running time. Now, while the extended edition novelization does indeed build to this point a little better, some more explanation, the way it's presented in the film has been made, a little bit of some explanation. The way it's represented in the film made it an often scorned moment, and I can kind of see why. The flying Leia is garbage. Can anybody in the comments disagree with that? Press F if you agree that the flying Leia moment is the worst moment in The Last Jedi. Let me know, because I will wait. But while I do wait, I'd like to say that that whole movie is a dumpster fire, and we see some Fs coming in, so it looks like people are agreeing. There's the Fs. Okay, there's a little bit of delay on the chat. I was not aware of that. Yeah, everybody agrees it's the worst moment. God damn it, Kendo. So I think we're all in agreement with that, and I think the article even goes further to talk about Rogue One. So the worst moment, according to this article, is Borg Gullet interrogation. That's the scene where the giant squid creature interrogates Bodhi Rook. I think that's a pretty dumb moment. I'd have to go back and watch Rogue One to determine it's a worse moment. There are better moments, but I'll just say Forrest Whitaker in general is the worst moment. And Army Vet Rod Sketch Therapy, yeah, the milking scene may be as equally offensive as the flying Leia Jedi scene. It all sucks pretty much. Dio Brando, good morning, thank you. Luke hologram is debatable, though. Yeah. The Luke hologram is debatable about being shittier. I think it's shitty, but I will go with the Leia thing because Luke and Force projecting and stuff, Luke is strong in the Force like that. Leia even says herself, you have a power I couldn't understand and could never have, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing here. I That's not Princess Leia. She's not sassy. She's not fun. She's completely different. Bikini 90, good morning. Thank you, and good morning to you too. D50 Productions, good morning. We need flying Han Solo and Rose's love to heal him. Oh my god. Rose's love can bind the galaxy together. You know how they talk about the Force in Empire Strikes Back about, luminous beings are we and not this crude matter and all that shit? The Force is just Rose Tico's love. And her tears bring life to all those in the galaxy. Like one of Rose Tico's tears could turn Tatooine into a lush, verdant oasis. But no. The Borg Gullet scene, though, is dumb. Somebody mentioned when they hit the stormtroopers in the head and it hurt them even though they have armor on. That's true as well. Like, the armor doesn't really do much for the stormtroopers, it looks like. It looks cool, but when they get hit by rocks, they go down. They get hit and they go down in one shot. Is it just a fear tactic? Because I don't ever consider them intimidating, but, whatever. That's just me. But they look cool, so we'll go with that. And finally, the worst moment in Solo: A Star Wars Story is Han Solo's namesake. Before I get into that, though, good morning, Cowabunga. Replace Kylo Ren with the Shredder. Kylo Ren replaced with the Shredder would be cool. Now, are we talking cartoon Shredder where he's a little hokey, or the movie version where he's a little scarier? Like, what is? Here's something I was wondering yesterday into today. I've been talking about watching the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and I was thinking to myself, Indiana Jones was for adults and kids. Whatever happened to moments in kids' movies that were kind of scary? I mean, I'm still in my 20s, so I'm not this old, curmudgeonly old dude that's like, get off my lawn and shit, but, Ninja Turtles had scary, realistic moments. Hell, even Spider-Man had a couple moments where you thought the hero was done. Like, I remember I was 13, so I wasn't scared or anything, but like when Spider-Man was getting the shit beat out of him by the Green Goblin in that little house at the end, like it got serious. He could lose, he could die. It got darker, his face was blown up. The Green Goblin implied what he was going to do with Mary Jane. Like there were some dark, scary moments. Why can't we go back to some of those kind of moments? Temple of Doom had some scary moments. It also had some fun. I think when these movies let you run the gamut of emotion, they're a lot better. And I'll just say better in general. I won't even say I think they're better. I think you're just flat out, when you feel more, when you watch a movie, you get more out of it. Goonies had some scary-ish moments, like when Chunk was kidnapped. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen to Chunk? Remember, if you're like 5 years old and you think his hand's going to get put into a blender, that's kind of horrific. Kylo Ren isn't scary or horrific. He's lame. Like, a little kid would laugh. I mean, I laughed at him because he's just like, oh, he's like, he broke an elevator. He can't beat the hero of the story, but he can beat up an elevator. Like, that inspires hope in that character for me. Sarcasm. Chaotic Neutral Bear, good morning. The Wolverine Shredder. So, like, adamantium armor? That'd be kind of cool. I don't do comics as much as I used to, but I've been reading a lot of Wolverine in my free time, and Wolverine is fastly becoming one of my favorite characters. Right now, it's Spider-Man for, forever, and Batman, but, like, at Marvel in general, it's like Spider-Man, Daredevil, and then Wolverine. I don't know why I'm really digging the Wolverine shit as of late, and it's not the new Wolverine stuff, just all Wolverine in general. I'm just really liking the character. And did you guys see that he's coming back in the comics? He's now going to be, he's going to have adamantium, like, heated claws. I think that's kind of dumb, but whatever. This one comes from Anders. Good morning, Anders. Good afternoon from Sweden. How's the weather over there? Here in Ohio, it's a nice warm morning, a lot of sun, and it is a good morning. A little tired, but you know what? That's okay. I had to be up anyway, so why not spend it with you guys talking about entertainment? Oh my God. Good morning, Loraxis. You have the best super chat so far. Rose's tears got Anakin's mom pregnant. Oh my God. Oh God. So had the tear get up there? That's a story for another time. I don't think we need to cover that unless you guys want me to cover Rose Tico, how Rose Tico got Anakin's mom pregnant. Maybe I'll make. Oh, if only I could put up like I'll put up a shitty webcomic. I could do that in the future. That'd be a lot of fun. Good morning to Chaotic Neutral Bear. LOL, the Wolverine movie. Samurai was basically Shredder. Yeah, I do LOL at that movie as well. I bought it on Blu-ray because it was like $4, and I saw it in theaters because I do see all the superhero movies in theaters. But I didn't like that movie. You can tell me what you think about it. I thought Logan was head and shoulders better. Obviously, but the Wolverine was just kind of lame. I think rated R really works for Wolverine. I think if they would have went a little more, I'm trying to think. I think if they would have went a little more Japanese in terms of like the tone, like how certain Japanese movies were made back in the day, like it had that grittier feel, I would have liked it more. The train scene was awesome. I didn't like Wolverine dealing with not having powers and shit. I hate that in superhero movies that aren't Spider-Man 2. Like it's Superman 2, I think it's dumb when he gives up his powers to be in love with Lois Lane. I know Cecil loves that movie, but that is for Cecil to love and not me. Good morning to Inigrove94. Thank you. Hello from Italy. Hope to meet you guys one day at Celebration if I ever manage to get to the U.S. I can also confirm here in Italy, everyone hated episode 8, besides a few shills. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. I would definitely go to Italy. If we ever have an opportunity to go as a show or just a couple of us as friends, we'll announce it and we'll try to meet some people and talk about how the Italians treat their entertainment journalism and stuff like that. That'd be really interesting. It's funny how it's just white men babies, predominantly in the U.S., that they tell us that hate these movies, but it seems like people from all over the world don't like it. And they're running out of excuses. I mean, if a big contingency of Italian people said we hate The Last Jedi, do you think Rian Johnson would have the nerve to say how Italians are racist or something? I don't know. I think he would he would get a lot of hate for that one. So when people from other parts of the world dislike a film, they keep their mouth shut because they don't have an argument there. They can just shit on the dudes of America. Good morning to Cowabunga, and thank you very much. Plot twist, Luke actually drinks TGRI ooze and will return to episode 9 as Jedi Master Splinter. Oh my god. That would be an awesome twist, but that would also make it to where the Ninja Turtles are owned by Disney, and I don't like that. You ever notice when Star Wars toys fail, they tell you that kids don't play with toys, but when Ninja Turtle toys have action figures, play sets, vehicles, the whole sewer system, no one ever bats an eyelash about that shit because kids do like toys. They just don't like Star Wars toys. So if you ever read an article that tries to generalize that kids don't play with toys at all, yes, kids do play on digital devices, can't deny that, but when Playmates, a smaller company than Hasbro, can make the type of toys that the Ninja Turtles had, and they're profitable, kind of hurts Hasbro's argument. Good morning to American Trent 421. Thank you. Idris Elba is Rose Tico's midichlorian tears. Oh fuck! God damn it! Idris Elba's back. First, Brandon Moist hijacked the show. Then it was Idris Elba. But you know what? I dig it. You can put that man in anything, and it has to work, right? Question mark. Another one from Chaotic Neutral Bear. Thank you. Rated R Wolverine is by far the best. 7 Samurai with Wolverine would have been kind of cool. Yes, I would like if they do more Wolverine flicks, because somehow Hugh Jackman has aged in reverse. Why not do some Madripoor stuff? That would be kind of cool. You don't have to have the whole cast of the X-Men there. You just do Madripoor and you make it darker and grittier and just, Wolverine versus the underworld. I'm not saying I want to see an R-rated Spider-Man flick, but I would like to see Spider-Man fight organized crime like he used to back in the day. You could have the Enforcers working for the Kingpin. You could have all kinds of shit. You could really have a really awesome story. You don't need to always have supervillains. You want to make Spider-Man refreshing. You don't need to talk about diversifying the cast or having non-gender or whatever students. You literally just put Spider-Man in a setting he's never been in, fighting organized crime. Would be fucking cool. Good morning to Christopher Burkle. Thank you very much. It's Friday night here in Australia, and I just got back from seeing Upgrade. It's refreshing seeing decent sci-fi playing in cinemas for a change. I have not heard of that film. Let me check that out. Upgrade. So it is playing around here, and that is the. Is that Tom? That's not Tom Hardy, is it? No, that's not. Was that Logan Marshall Green? Let's see who's in this movie real quick. It is Logan Marshall Green. I call that guy the poor man's Tom Hardy. Quick story. You guys can laugh at me later if you want. So I watched this movie. I think it was called like The Invitation or something. And it was about a couple that goes to a dinner party. And it was like a big like horror twisty movie. And the whole time I'm watching the movie thinking, Tom Hardy's good in this. Tom Hardy's good in this. But the twist was it wasn't Tom Hardy. It was this guy, Logan Marshall Green, who looks just like Tom Hardy. So if you guys have a chance, make sure you Google Logan Marshall Green and see how Jeff was duped into thinking Tom Hardy's been in all these other movies. But it wasn't him. But Christopher, I'm glad you were able to go to a cinema and enjoy a movie. I like sci-fi. I like serious, darker sci-fi. I might try to check this one out to support it, to, like, hey, we're going to change some stuff like this. This would be the kind of movie I'd probably watch on a Saturday on Netflix, but I'm willing to take a gamble and check it out. We have another one from Generic Edgelord. Good morning, Generic Edgelord. Thank you again. When it comes to the old Star Wars EU, even at its worst, it was better than The Last Jedi. Yes, even this stuff. Crystal Star, Darksaber, and Dark Empire. I have a copy of Darksaber, like, right next to me. I've yet to read it. I'm one of those people who's guilty of picking up like stuff that's on clearance that I like, and I'll eventually get to it, and I just sometimes never do. That's the case with a lot of my Star Wars stuff. Now, when it comes to like full-priced comics, I read those the day of, but there are times where it's just like, oh, I bought this for $1. I'm going to put it on my to-do list, and then I never get to it. So that is what I have to say about Darksaber. But yeah, I'm pretty sure even at its worst, EU is better than what... Here's the good thing, though. You can use your own imagination when it comes to books and certain things. Yeah, there's stuff on the printed page, but tone and this and that, you can kind of make a story in your mind, and it's always your favorite if you do it yourself in your mind. No one else has that ability. But we also have to thank the original trilogy to help us build that world that we have adapted in our mind. So it's kind of an interesting thing. It's kind of a weird way to look at it, but I agree with what you have to say. Good morning to Kenneth Johnson. Episode 8 is Rian Johnson's way of getting back at the Star Wars nerds who never included him as a kid. He was too big of a loser even for them. By the way, new listener. Well, Kenneth, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your super chat, and thank you for sticking around for a while. If you're new, this isn't a plug, but I suggest you go back and check out a lot of our older videos. For fun, if you ever want to listen to an old podcast to see how we've grown, that'd be awesome. But if not, just check out some of the separate videos that I've made of myself. You can hear us talk about certain topics. That way, if you have any questions and if we've covered them, awesome. If not, feel free to join our Facebook page. Actually, please join our Facebook page and come over there and hang out. Anyone that's on there can attest that we talk to you guys all the time. All 4 of us from the show. We have open dialogues about entertainment, honestly, every couple of hours, and it's a lot of fun. So sometimes the stuff that's on a video appears there first. So make sure you do that. But back to your statement, though, Rian Johnson's way of getting back at Star Wars nerds. That is a funny take. I think Rian Johnson wasn't... I don't think Star Wars fans excluded Rian Johnson because he was too big of a nerd. I think Rian Johnson was that asshole kid that didn't realize he was an asshole, but he was an asshole to everyone. So, like, the nerds hated him, the jocks hated him, the girls hated him. He was just that guy, and he was such an asshole. And then he found other people who were big assholes, too. And those assholes came together, and they started blocking other assholes. And I've said assholes way too much in this last 30 seconds, so I'm going to stop. The point is, Rian Johnson wasn't a likable guy, and I think he is doing that kind of stuff to just agitate people because that's in who he is as a person. He just does shit to agitate people to get attention. If anything, he just wants attention. Like, he's the most talked about Star Wars director next to George Lucas ever, because of the garbage he made. So he got his wish. He got all the attention that he was not given as a teenager. When he wasn't getting laid in high school, well, you got it back. You got him $1 million, and you got Star Wars. So good for you, my friend. Makini90, thank you very much, and good morning. You're right. What if we added a larger sense of danger for Rey, like in The Force Awakens, where in her fight against Kylo, she and Finn barely make it out alive, and Rey suffers injuries that lead into The Last Jedi? Yes. Here's my thing with Rey, and I keep saying this, and I'll keep saying it because this SJW witch hunt's getting crazy now. I don't dislike Rey because she's a woman. I dislike Rey because she's a poorly written character who has things given to her in the realm of the story, and things just happen because of plot. Everyone says, "Oh, she's not a Mary Sue. Luke's a Gary Stu." No, Luke loses. Luke, anything that's about Luke is either established in the movie or when we see him do something great, he built up to it. I think if Rey would have known, I don't like Rey knowing the Jedi mind trick and shit like that. How could you have saved Rey for me? Well, first off, I don't like how she was bitchy towards Finn, but I get it. They're strangers, so stranger danger, whatever. So you could leave that in. I don't like her one up in Han with the Millennium Falcon. That bothers me. She shouldn't be this wonderkin who knows everything. Like Luke says, what's that flashing? And he smacks his hand away. Like, let her learn with the audience, because they want to say this is a reboot and a reintroduction to Star Wars for a whole new generation. Yet they're being, there's that double standard. They're expecting everyone to have seen the old movies, or hoping that they haven't seen the old movies at the same time, because they want you to know what all these things are. The Jedi mind trick, this, the Millennium Falcon having issues. But at the same time, they don't want you to think it's the same movie. So they're kind of defeating their own thing. But in terms of the fight, she should have got her shit pushed in just like Finn. If I'm rebooking the end of the film in terms of wrestling talk, we get to the end, Han Solo. Maybe the way Han Solo dies, instead of being on that stupid catwalk, they escape, and on their way back to the Falcon, what's his name? It is Ben Solo. He kills Han Solo there, and the other ones just run away and escape. It's not necessarily about a fight. That would be, that would be my better thing. Or she just gets beat up. Maybe she doesn't lose her arm yet. Maybe he just like slices her at the leg and she goes down, and maybe that's the first time you see her use the Force in her like extreme anguish. She's like reaching out to do something, and she pulls something towards her, and then he stops her, but then something happens, the ground breaks, and they escape. Not this whole fight. That pisses me off beyond belief. Claw Storic, thank you. Good morning. Did you see the Force for Diversity where queers bested the two badass bounty hunters? The cartoon, I have not seen a single episode of the Force for Diversity. I've seen the toy line. It's like Bratz for Star Wars fans. Well, actually, I'm going to rephrase that. It's not even Bratz for Star Wars fans. It's just Bratz Star Wars. It's a lame attempt to cater to girls. They say, oh, everyone's equal. We should treat them all the same. Cool. And so, but then when you get to the marketplace, you make them dolls for girls because girls play with dolls. You bitch about stereotypes, yet you play into the stereotypes. It's very hypocritical on their part. I don't think anyone, I know like Dion has a kid. He never once said, oh, my kid playing with action figures is a societal norm created by white men, blah, blah. No, kids like toys, boys like this, girls like that. Just give them what they like. They're children. You shouldn't question their gender and politics and all this other shit at 4 years old. Just let them be a kid. That being said, excuse the rant, I'm sure the cartoon's garbage. That kind of it's embarrassing that that's what we get. Rebels is, I guess, fine. I've seen part of an episode where Darth Vader appears, and I didn't watch anything else. And I don't watch this Force for Diversity cartoon because I don't want to. I don't care about. I like Princess Leia, but all the shit I needed to know about her and Luke and stuff, instead of telling like a 3-minute story in the jungle of Endor or this or that, just tell another adventure. Like little bitty things like that are stupid. Like, are these not even on TV? Or isn't it like a YouTube series? Let me know in the comments section. Wow. Big super chat from Andrew Dale. Thank you very much and good morning. Spider-Man has multiple issues where he fights organized crime, at least in the 1960s comics, with a character like the Green Goblin trying to take control of the whole mobster rake. Have yet to read anything beyond that. Okay, you haven't read anything beyond that, Andrew. Well, I suggest strongly that you pick up Marvel Masterworks. They are just straight reprints of the original comic books. Real quick, I need a hydration break. They're reprints of the original books. That's cool. I remember back in 2004, I picked up, I think, the first 4 sets. They were on sale at Barnes & Nobles for $12.99. It was a hell of a deal. My mom bought them all for me. I read them a lot. I do like Spider-Man Organized Crime. The Spectacular Spider-Man did that well. And I like here's the thing. I love the Ditko era for the stories, not the art. The next artist that took place that replaced Steve Ditko was John Romita. He was my favorite comic book artist ever. Everything he drew to me was, not everything, but in terms of Spider-Man, it was all excellent work. But I love the tone set up by the Ditko era. And then it followed into the Romita era. You had the Frederick Foswell and his fake face and all that shit, and he gets killed. Like, you could really build a cool story. Like, if you have the Daily Bugle and you talk about organized crime and stuff, you could even have a Punisher crossover. If you did organized crime in the Spider-Man world and it gets dark and Spider-Man's down and, Punisher shoots some guys and Spider-Man's like, whoa, you don't kill people and all that crap. You could have those moments. You could really build a cool universe of that. But we keep playing into the whole who's the supervillain of the week, catastrophic event, what Avenger's going to come save it. I do like Spider-Man dealing with smaller scale stuff, but in all different parts of New York. I don't like how he was only in one borough in this movie. I didn't like how there's just a lot I didn't like. I didn't like how Iron Man made Spider-Man who he is. That's just a whole topic for another show. I apologize. I'm ranting. But Andrew, I strongly suggest you keep reading the stuff post the 60s. Now, it's going to get a little sketchy in the mid 70s. Like, after Gwen dies, it goes a little downhill around issue 100. No, wait, Gwen dies in issue 121. But point is, it gets a little hokey when, like, they go to the Savage Land and stuff. When Gil Kane's the artist on there, he's a great artist, but some of the stuff is weird. Gwen's death, her dad's death is cool. Go to the 80s. Like, if you want my recommendation for Spider-Man, 1980s Spider-Man is fucking incredible. You should go read it from the beginning, issue 200, all the way through the end of the decade and pick up every book in between. That's the one decade. It's not about being this big 80s fan, though I do love how Spider-Man is in a rush to go see Beverly Hills Cop in theaters. But it's not about being an 80s fan. It's about just like the consistency and the storytelling and the building of, where we're going next. I like the continuity back then. I don't think we have enough continuity in entertainment today. You see, back then, we had it to where, like, oh, if this happens in this movie, it has to go this way because this is what happened in the previous one. And I know it sounds like it's hard work, but this is entertainment. And entertainment is work. You need to be responsible to the audience. You need to give them a nice continuation because, like Stan Lee said, everyone's comic book is someone's first comic book. Right? Every comic book is someone's first comic book is the phrase that he said. I agree with that 100%. But you also don't want to penalize the people that have been reading the entire time. So you got to find a nice happy medium. And I think the 1980s was a nice happy medium in terms of Spider-Man stories. So if you can pick that up, or if you want to read it online, there's some websites that you can check it out. I read a lot of comics online too. Good morning to Dio Brando. You sent one in. Force for Diversity sounds like Jews for Jesus. I think, to be fair, it's called Forces of Destiny, but I call it Force for Diversity because they're forcing diversity into Star Wars. And kids, like, the girls aren't buying it. Little boys aren't. If you were a boy as a kid, like, if you were a small child, would you want Luke Skywalker that had, like, Barbie doll eyes, or would you want Luke Skywalker that looked like he could kick some ass with a lightsaber? I'm always going for kick some ass with a lightsaber, as well as the one that can fit inside the X-Wing and the land speeder and, all that cool shit. You want to build that world in your toy box, so that's a thing. Dragon Han, good morning. Good morning, Jeff. Seen this on Star Wars Facebook group. Lucas era Lando, leader of Bespin, kills second Death Star. Disney era Lando, loves capes, F's anything. Thoughts? Well, here are my thoughts, Dragon Han. Lucas Lando was the man. He was cool. He was a space pimp or a spimp. He was, I hate to keep using their words, but I'm going to use their words against them. They talk about representation in film. If there was a weird part of the country where you could only like characters that looked like you, well, Lando Calrissian was a great example of a black character on film. He was never treated like shit or made anything less. He was as masculine and cool as Han Solo. He had he's like this. He's like the rich guy who was friends with your husband. He was the guy who, had the cool house and the cool car and all that shit. And maybe the Princess Leia, aka the wife, loves her husband, but the other guy's just as cool. So Lando and Han are equally cool on every front. When it comes to fighting, they're equally capable. George Lucas was able to make every Star Wars character someone's favorite Star Wars character. These new versions are no one's favorite Star Wars character. And, they keep telling us to let the past die. Stop fucking with the past. Let Lando be this cool dude who appears in Empire and, betrays his friend, but then, wants to, go back and do it and make it right. That's the kind of stuff Lucas was about. Disney Lando is a joke. And, people were getting pissed. There were articles about, is Lando Calrissian's pansexuality an attack on black malehood? I wasn't going to say that. I just stand firmly by, don't fuck with the old characters. Make new ones if you need them to be pansexual or weird or non-binary or whatever the fuck that means. Do not change the old guys, because everyone loves those characters. I've never heard someone say to me, I would love Star Wars if it wasn't for that dude Lando Calrissian. No. I've had hour-long debates with Dustin, who used to be on the show, about Lando Calrissian. Is Lando a good friend? Is Lando a good character? All this shit. We came to the conclusion that Lando is a great character, but a shitty friend to Han and Empire. So that's what makes him interesting. Good morning to Jason Murillo. Or is it Murillo? Because of the LL. I apologize. Good morning. Cheers. Post-Jedi, does Luke go bad or good? Well, if we go with the old canon, he does kind of flirt, I think it was at Dark Empire, with going evil and stuff like that. And I think there's a couple clones of the Emperor. It's a cool story. And I think on YouTube, when you're done listening to this, go listen to the audio dramatization of that. It's a lot of fun. I'd like to think Luke stays good because he was able to redeem his father and see the good in him. And I think Luke would be able to do that with himself and keep himself, clean. Is a better way, just a simpler way to say it. Good morning to Ashton Jones. Thank you. Morning from Norwood. Like here in Cincinnati, Norwood? Okay, cool. I thought that would have been a better ending for Star Wars The Force Awakens if Chewbacca firing at Kylo with the Falcon as Rey is getting beat. That would have been cool. God, now that would make me respect Kylo Ren. He can take a blast from a spaceship. And he could have tried to hold it back with the Force, and then it was just too much or something. I don't know. And maybe it shows Snoke come down and repair his body, and you get like bionic Kylo Ren or something. I mean, we can armchair quarterback a better movie all day long. And you know what? It makes me happy, but it also makes me sad, because we live in a world where there are no reasons why Lucasfilm couldn't make these movies that we're talking about. Technology exists. This exists. There's nothing holds them back. Anything you can imagine, you can put on screen, but they can't imagine anything that good. Good morning to the hunky chunky funky monkey. Lucas told stories. Disney just pushes characters at us and tells us we have to like them. That's very true. I don't like being told that I have to like or should respect. Like, oh, you got to respect this character. No, you don't. First off, fictional person, I don't have to do anything. If I want to hate Grand Admiral Thrawn all day, every day, that's awesome. I don't have to do anything. I don't think Disney has a lot of imagination. They used to call Marvel the House of Ideas. Well, the house has been foreclosed on. Same thing with Disney and their imagination. It's not the happiest place on earth. The truth comes out that Disneyland is like working in a sweatshop. It's really fucked up. I got a friend, Spencer, who worked at Disney World for a couple summers. He has horror stories. Maybe I'll get him on the podcast one of these nights. He's a music producer out in Hollywood now, so he'll come on and we'll talk. If you guys want that, let me know. Press F or whatever. But yeah, Disney just tells you the things. You can't find these characters. They don't have a personality outside of what's on screen for you to develop an interest in. I know I use Han Solo as an example, but there's so much to like about Han Solo. He's so cool. I think Harrison Ford just has that about him as an actor. Not as a person, but as an actor. There's some kind of thing that we gravitate to with his characters that makes you want to either be around or be them. That's a sign of a good character. Like, you aspire to be better, or you want to be that person or like that person. Like, you face adversity. Well, I'm sure this person's not that bad. You use a little bit of your Luke Skywalker instinct, and you see the good in somebody. Okay, there's a lot of F's. I'll talk to Spencer. Let me write that down right now. Call Spencer. Spencer's one of my older friends. I've known him for almost a decade. I'm not as tight with him as I am Dion, but Dion knows him. Dion's wife doesn't like him. Spencer had he would always go after other people's girlfriends, but like he would do it subconsciously. He wasn't trying to break up your relationship, but he'd always be hitting on your girlfriends and not know it. He was trying to go after my girlfriend at the time. It was interesting. But we'll talk about that on air for all you guys to listen to. Good morning, and thank you to the generic edgelord. Also, the sequel trilogy is really just a shit version of Legacy of the Force storyline from the EU. It still triggers me greatly. Don't give them that. Do not give them the ability to trigger you, man. Like, just stay sane. I've said this before on the show. I've said it in my private life. The reason that they canceled the EU the way they did is just so they could milk it and make movies from it and not be accused of, rehashing it. Oh, there's no ideas. Why don't you guys do something new? Oh, we are. The new thing is to kill the canon and remake it. Like, I'd be okay if they're like, we're just adapting these stories. That's the Disney Star Wars for the foreseeable future. That would be cool. That would have been really cool. That way you don't ruin the other things. Good morning to Cesario, Japan. Thank you. Darth Talon was the hottest Sith in Star Wars. Let's see what Darth Talon looks like. Darth Talon. Oh, okay. So it's like a red Twi'lek with Darth Maul tattoos. She looks cool. She's got a single red lightsaber. We'll never get a character like that in Disney Star Wars because it'll trigger people or whatever. But, millions and millions of children saw Return of the Jedi and Leia in her gold bikini, and all it did is, interest a lot of people for future generations. I don't think it ruined anyone. It was just a powerful image in a good way. I'm not saying you got to infuse all this sexuality into Star Wars, but I always stand by this. A little TNA never hurt anyone. Just ask the WWF. And now a lot of people are telling me some of their hottest Star Wars characters. It all depends on who draws them. There are some artists out there who can't draw women to save their lives. And, it's a benefit when the artists out there can. Ethan Van Sciver can draw nice-looking women. Ethan Van Sciver can draw pretty much anything. He's had a long career, and I know Cyberfrog just hit a big record, so congratulations to him. Here's hoping for the World-Class Bullshitters. Well, it's not really a World-Class Bullshitters comic, but my book. I'd love for it to hit that record. Could finally get out of college debt. It would be amazing. And I could tell some really cool stories. I got a couple of good ideas, and somebody on the show last night came up with one, so I'm going to further that idea. I'm also going to give him credit on that one. So, Party Om Civi, if you hear this, you know who you are. Also, Darth Talon is from the Legacy comics. I do need to read those. After this, I got to get ready for tonight's live stream, and I got places to be. But I do want to spend some time with this expanded universe stuff because there's so much passion from you guys out there. They're like, it was so much better before, and I want to be able to be on that same. Look, it had to be better than what's here now. I'm not even going to be able to deny that one. But I want to be able to at least have that conversation with you guys. I needed a hydration break. Just a moment. I was thinking about having a gimmick where I do this stream for as long as I have a cup of coffee. And so far, it took me an hour to get to that cup of coffee, but I have a second cup of coffee, and I'll keep these things rolling. So you guys let me know what you want us to go into more detail about. I think so far this has been one of the 3 we've done this week, I think this is the strongest live stream we've had. Maybe it doesn't have the most viewers, but we've been getting a lot of good topics, and we've been able to go into some really good discussions about entertainment. And that's really what this channel's about. I know we talk about Star Wars, and I'm not going to apologize because I'm passionate about it, and so are you. But I care about all entertainment, and I'm seeing the MCU going down that path that they shouldn't be going down with Captain Marvel. Look, I don't care if we have a female-led superhero movie. Fine, that's not a problem. I don't care if a woman directs it. I don't care if a woman scores it like they do now. I hate, though, how the media tries to present that as that's the thing that's selling the movie. Like, that is the good thing. No, the story needs to be the good thing. Those are just incidentals like, oh, a woman scored this. That's fine. Women have scored movies. Cool. Woman directed it. Hey, that's cool, too. Woman directed Wayne's World, one of the best movies ever. No complaint. No real. It doesn't really make the movie better. It's a sign of a good director if you see a good film and you're moved or entertained by it. Whatever's in their pants doesn't matter. The media is the one that needs to be shut down with promoting this. You're not promoting anything positive. You're just creating division. It's stupid. King KDI, have not seen the Omega versus Okada 4 match yet. I saw one New Japan pay-per-view. Was it Wrestle Kingdom 12 or 14? Wherever Jericho fought Kenny Omega. I was so hooked by that match that I would definitely. I looked into ordering or buying the streaming service for New Japan. Like if that match is cool, I was so ready for more. I fucking loved it. I want to check it out. I know Dave Meltzer blew a load in his pants, so I'll check it out. Not yet, but I am going to watch Money in the Bank this weekend, so that's not a consolation at all. Kleindropper said, sorry I got here late. Did you already talk about Paul Kemp's tweets? Is Lucasfilm actively trying to destroy themselves? You know what, Kleindropper? First off, good morning and thank you. Let me look up these Paul Kemp tweets because I have not checked it out. If I could spell tweets, that would help. So, Paul Kemp's tweets. As you guys know, our Twitter is run by Nick, the last standing Samoan. So, first off, everyone thank Nick for running the Twitter. He's done a great job. We have almost as many followers as Paul Kemp, this guy that writes for Star Wars. And we're just some podcasts, though. But does anyone have any examples of the shit he's saying? Because I'm looking right now at his tweets. And let's see, who is Paul Kemp, first off? He is a writer of Star Wars novels, creator of Egil and Nyx, liberal, weird shit is afoot, stay frosty. Okay. Well, I didn't really need your political views in your thing, but whatever. It's like that's his identity, and that's all he has to go for. What has he written in terms of Star Wars? Let me look. Okay, so Paul S. Kemp, according to Wikipedia, he has authored Cross Current, The Old Republic books, Fair Trade, Riptide, Lords of the Sith, a short story, and the to-be-determined Untitled Paul S. Kemp duology on standby. So he's really not a heavy hitter. He's from the UK, normal-looking guy. Have nothing really to say about that. What is he saying, though? Oh, here we go. Bounding into Comics has an article about this right now. Since I follow mostly political policy journalism folks, I'm late to the various fandom controversies. Caught wind of the latest Star Wars fandom. Let me share some brief comments. Please, Paul, because the 5 or 6 Star Wars books you've written definitely helps you know everything about the Star Wars fandom. There are probably some followers on this feed who use the term forced diversity, SJW, politically correct, or whatnot. If you're one of them, unfollow me. I don't merely disagree with you. I find you contemptible, a detestable human being with whom, and then it cut off. And it says, run back to your fellow neckbeards, incels, or whoever you hang out with. Just stay clear of me. Thanks and fuck you. Oh, Paul Kemp, fuck you too, you racist piece of shit. You see how we can flip the script on these people real quick? That's how you argue with them. Oh, don't talk to me if you're one of these people. You know what, Paul Kemp? I'm not going to read your books. I never was going to read your books. But now I'm going to make sure that I tell other people not to read your books because people like this are the worst. What does, here's the thing. I use the phrase forced diversity all the time. What's wrong with natural diversity where people can like each other and come to like each other from every walk of life? It's not a problem. Forced diversity is a thing in entertainment. The Forces of Destiny dolls are forced diversity in the Star Wars world. That's why they're 70% off in Germany. Somebody sent me photos. It's not like I make this shit up when I talk about the merchandise. I have proof. I have evidence. I have people from all over the world. I got the best fans that are coming to me and saying, hey, Jeff, check this out. Look what's here. It's on super clearance. Like, we're getting into that shit. So we know that doesn't work. SJWs, politically correct. Political correctness sucks. It ruins entertainment. I don't ever advocate you treat people bad based on the way they look or act or think or feel, but don't fuck up a good story just because you don't want to offend 6 people on Twitter. Fuck those 6 people. The other 7 billion and change may like your story. Go for them. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. SJW, social justice worthy, ironic phrase. Those are the worst people in entertainment too. Again, always stand by treating everybody equal. Don't discriminate. Always. That's World-Class Bullshitters lives that. I don't treat anybody differently by the way they look, act, think, or feel. But in entertainment, those people are a fucking tumor. And a tumor is no good to anybody. It just grows and grows and leaches. It's like the symbiote from Spider-Man, except it's not cool. And instead of superpowers, you just get more cancer and you die. Those people are the absolute worst when it comes to entertainment. They don't bring anything to the table. All they do is tear down the good shit. It's like you have a really positive, fun group of people, and then some asshole comes in and spouts out some shit and says, if you disagree with me, you're this, that, and the other, these terrible things they accuse you of being. So then you don't want to be these terrible things. So then you try to think about changing, and then it just ruins everything for everyone else. So Paul Kemp, you can take your head and shove it so far up your ass. I don't give a shit about anything you ever have to say. Debate me. Call me a racist white dude. I'm not white. I'm not a racist. I just disagree with everything you have to say. You know what? Your identity is your politics. That's all you are. Oh, I'm a liberal. That's who you are as a human being. Well, you know what? Limited yourself to one phrase, and that has limited you to a certain group of people on a certain spectrum. Open yourselves up, or open yourself up to a wider possibility of people to interact with, because just because you disagree with someone's political views doesn't mean you may not like them in every other walk of life. So, Paul, you have effectively cut yourself off from the Star Wars fandom supporting you. That upcoming duology is not going to be well received because you have put your foot in your mouth and fucked up. And people aren't going to let you forget this, dude. People are not going to let you forget this. So unfollow us all. Unfollow everybody. But remember, when your book is a fucking failure, look in the mirror. Don't blame racists. Don't blame the people that dislike SJWs. Don't blame any of those people. Blame yourself for shitting where you eat. I'm sorry about that. Dio Brando, good morning. Mine Kemp. Yeah, dude's a fucking idiot. Sackquist, good morning. Read the original Thrawn trilogy and New Jedi Order. Read the original Thrawn trilogy and the New Jedi Order. I will do my best. One thing you gotta understand, I love doing this and posting videos and stuff, but it's hard to find time to read. I do make myself go to the gym and stuff like that, so I have a schedule that I have to adhere to, and the channel honestly comes first. So my fun time is like watching Home Improvement, but I finished that, so I have nothing else to do. So that if I don't get to the book, it's not because I don't want to take your opinions or your recommendations seriously. I just won't have the time. So I picked up a James Bond book like 6 months ago to read, and I still haven't even cracked the cover. Oh, it's 19 books? Yeah, I am not reading a 19-book series. If you guys want to send me the Cliff Notes, the abridged version, whatever that website was you used to go to in high school that would tell you the stories outlines real quick. If you guys want to send me those, I'm all for that. Maybe there's a book on tape that's on YouTube or something. I'll check that out too. Robbie Bobby, did you ever look into your Facebook inbox? I sent pics. It's relating to Lucasfilm. Depending on when you sent it. If it's to the World Class Bullshitters one, I'm a little behind. We got a lot of those. I'm trying to catch on emails and the stuff over on Patreon too. It's been a big week. We've been sending out the Patreon shirts, so people have been talking to us about sizes and all that stuff. I'll check it out a little bit later today. After this, like I said, I got to be somewhere. Tonight is our Spinal Tap celebration for Brian Lape and his birthday. It's going to be a lot of fun. So even if you don't like Spinal Tap that much, just come listen to it. Wish Brian Lape a happy birthday. He's a good dude. He's helped you guys out a lot, too. If you go back to the older episodes, he used to do all the timestamps for us, but now he's got a new job, so he's a little busy, so we understand. But he's going to be coming with us to Chicago for Star Wars Celebration, and he's going to be filming a lot of stuff. We're going to actually make a documentary there. So if you guys are really excited for more world-class bullshitter stuff, you're going to get it, and you're going to definitely get it thanks to Brian Lape. So somebody said, John Lance said, I read the original Dr. No when I was 14. How the hell they allow that in my library, I'll never know. John, when I was younger, I used to read a lot of the James Bond books. I had a pretty cool mom in terms of in every aspect, my mom was cool. But she was pretty liberal in the sense of, and I'm not using a political term, but liberal with letting me consume entertainment. Nothing adult oriented in the terms of porn, but straight up it was an R-rated flick. My mom was okay with me watching it. She wouldn't watch it, but she knew I was a mature kid. I had Grand Theft Auto as a kid. I was 13 when GTA 3 came out. I had it. I had Vice City. I wasn't 17. She bought them for me. Never batted an eyelash. Didn't care. I had a cool mom. Same thing with James Bond. Some of the older books are sexier and stuff like that. The movies, I had the DVD sets as a kid. I was in grade school when the DVDs came out, so it wasn't really. It was risque. I'll never forget. I went to my uncle's house, and I wasn't allowed to watch Goldeneye because the back cover had a picture of Bond and Natalia on the beach laying down, and they thought it was a sex movie. One other thing, the reason there's a guy called Wayne the Sex Machine on here that I always laugh at his name is when I was a kid, I had an aunt who told my mom not to let me watch Wayne's World because it was a sex movie. I don't know what movie my aunt watched, but Wayne's World was not a sex movie whatsoever. It had the gratuitous sex scene, but it was not a sex movie. I think misinformation attempted to ruin my enjoyment of Wayne's World, but that woman couldn't keep me away from Wayne's World. Yes, James Bond is a much different character than he is on screen. That's why when people make the argument about Daniel Craig and Timothy Dalton as being the most true to Fleming's Bond, how true do you really want to get to Fleming's Bond? I mean, James Bond does terrible things in the books, not going to defend that, but that's what makes him compelling. He also is a bit more romantic and dreams about certain things, and he's obsessed with food, and the books are way different than the movies. I think it's a good thing that they're different characters, but I still enjoy all of it. Like even the not so great comic books from Dynamite with the bad artwork, I'm still enjoying it. So somebody's letting me know that the SJWs are trying to get into the Warhammer 40K thing. Don't let that happen either. I'll admit I'm not into Warhammer 40K because I don't know what it is. Except, isn't it like a little game? Weren't there little pewter figures or something like that? Something. I know it's a game. My point is, don't just because I'm talking about Star Wars doesn't mean I discredit protecting Warhammer 40K. You got to keep this type of shit out of all entertainment. It's not about appeal. It's not about making it like for white people only. It's about keeping what was there and not trying to dilute the brand to appeal to people that aren't into it in the hopes that you're going to grow your brand. Just tell the greatest, craziest stories of all time. Everybody likes Game of Thrones. Like, it can appeal to everybody. It's what it is. You can make Warhammer 40K shit like that, and you can attract an audience. You just got to know what's popular, and it's not this weird political crap. Okay, thank you. You'll never know. Good morning, David Hervey. Did you see Alex Becker video on Ethan? It's very informative about how to master YouTube's algorithm. I think it can really help you guys more too. Well, you know what? First off, David, thank you for your super chat, and thank you even more, and I mean this, for trying to help us grow. So let me write that down. Alex Becker algorithm video. Oh, that's something I will watch today. I'm being honest. I really appreciate that. That's something I would like because we're very fortunate the way we're growing. I mean, we're reaching people all the time, new people all the time. You guys can see the numbers. There's nothing to hide. It's really working. And I'm thankful that everyone is finding us and we're able to have these kind of dialogues and discussions. But anything to help us go even further is great. So again, David, I appreciate that. And I will definitely be watching that today. Good morning to Alex Moat. Thank you, first off. There was a story treatment for a Wolverine flick back in 1988 that had Bob Hoskins, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, cast as Wolverine. Can you imagine? I do know who Bob Hoskins is. He was Super Mario to me as a child, and I can't imagine that being a good thing. I mean, remember, this was a time, 1988, so Batman 89 was in production. This was a time where actors got roles. They didn't really get buffed up for it. I mean, Christopher Reeve as Superman did gain mass and muscle thanks to Darth Vader, David Prowse. But it would have been Bob Hoskins and a shitty leotard playing Wolverine with a crappy Australian accent. Even though he's been Canadian, they kept portraying him with a crappy Australian accent in everything he did. So, I couldn't imagine a Bob Hoskins Wolverine. That is one of the worst casting ideas in history. Like, there is that serious talk about Bill Murray as Batman and Eddie Murphy as Robin and all that shit. No, thank you. Folks, send me your ideas for some of the worst castings in history. That is definitely something that's good for a laugh. But yeah, Bob Hoskins, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I like that movie. I grew up watching it. It wasn't one of my favorite ones. I did see Super Mario Brothers in theaters, and as well as the Nicolas Cage Superman, which I obviously didn't see because it doesn't exist. But yeah, that is one of those films where the casting wouldn't have been right. We saw the suit. The suit looked fun, but it's where I feel like today when these actors get these superhero roles, yeah, they're big money, but the people give it their all for the most part. Look at Hugh Jackman nowadays. Look at Chris Evans. Look at even Robert Downey Jr. put on muscle to play Iron Man in the beginning. Like, these people care. Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man, huge change from like Pleasantville to Spider-Man. Look at just, I'm not trying to sound weird, but look at the body. Completely new person based on that role. When these people got into it, they put that much time into it to look like that, so they're going to give a good performance, or at least attempt to give a good performance. Back in the 80s, superhero movies were treated differently. You had your Batman on the way, which was great. You had The Punisher, which sucked with Dolph Lundgren. Superman was a thing of the past because Superman Quest for Peace was shit. It was a bad thing. Another one from Cesario, Japan. Thank you. From the last podcast, Vertigo Comics has 7 SJW comics in the pipeline. One is a ripoff of Japanese anime Shimoneta. I was not aware of what they had in the pipeline. I just knew that Zoe Quinn, Gamergate, SJW Patient Zero. I feel like, or not feel like anything, I know this. I just know she's involved. She brings controversy, but why would DC want to bring that kind of controversy to their brand? It's funny. DC was keeping their nose clean the entire time during this SJW Marvel fiasco. You know, you can watch the diversity in comics videos and see the garbage that's going down. I'm not saying DC put out nothing but gold the whole time, but they kind of kept their noses out of it. And now it's like, hey, we want the attention that Marvel's getting. No, you don't. It's like there's a PR book that they bought called How to Fuck Up Your Company in like 7 weeks. And that's what Marvel is living by. And now DC seems to be going by that. I mean, you got to remember, DC Vertigo books. I think Watchmen was Vertigo. Sandman, Neil Gaiman, like that kind of stuff. We're talking writers. The heaviest of shit. Zoe Quinn put out a video game called Depression Quest, which I haven't played, but people don't really seem to receive it positively. It seems like a very low-rent game. Now, I'm not discrediting people's take on depression or stuff like that. That's not what this is about. What this is about, though, is this woman hasn't proven herself as this comic book writer, and then she's been given a book on the relaunch of one of the most important things DC can do for the next decade, because this is where they could glean a lot of movies and entertainment from, but they're going with her. Look it, folks, the MCU is on its way out with Miss Marvel and the Captain Marvel movie because they're going to turn it into this cesspool that is the current climate of the comic books. You know, Avengers 4 is going to be the end of it. DC, you think they'd come in and fix it? You know, Wonder Woman was a great superhero movie led by a female, directed by a woman. Awesome. I mean, I said it's like a 7 out of 10 movie. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. And it's free from a lot of talking down to the audiences. It really builds you up and you leave happy. You're excited for the next one. Justice League was whatever, but you think DC might be going in the right direction. Marvel, they went from the tippity top, and it looks like they're ready to just jump to see what it feels like. Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey. Love that screen name. Thank you. Idris Elba is Miss Marple. Now, Miss Marple is the old British lady who's the investigator, right? Because every time somebody says Miss Marple, I think of Hot Fuzz, where they call Nicholas Angel Miss Marple condescendingly. Basinski. Good morning. Hey, World Class Bullshitters. Love you and Dion. New sub and hoped you liked my super chats yesterday. Yes, we did. What about Idris Elba being cast for the Dark Tower, subverting the whole plot of the books? Maybe. I like Stephen King stuff, but I think even I skipped out on that movie. You know what? I'll tell you a funny story. I actually was going to see it. Dan and I, the guy that used to be on the show, we actually drove to the theater to go see it. We got to the parking lot. We looked at each other, and we said, would you rather go eat than watch this movie? And we looked at each other, kind of embarrassed, and we both said yeah at the same time. So I didn't go see The Dark Tower, not because of Idris Elba, but because of, like, it just didn't look that cool. Now, it, on the other hand, was a 10 out of 10 movie for me. I fucking loved that movie. It's funny. People are like, all you ever do is shit on movies on your channel. Oh, God, no. We praise stuff all the time, but stuff we find of quality and enjoy. Same with you guys. Do you like everything in life? No. Do you hate everything in life? No. There's a balance of good and bad. And what I like, you may hate. And what you hate, I may like. So that's how it works. And The Dark Tower just looked stupid from the beginning. Do I think Idris Elba being cast as the main guy is a problem? I don't think you should race swap anybody. It's not about making white people black and black people white and all this stuff. You shouldn't just change it at all. Like, be true to the source material. You want to milk the name recognition. Well, the name recognition isn't enough. People aren't going to go, oh, I heard of the Dark Tower. You're going to get people that say, I love the Dark Tower, but they changed it. I'm not going to see it. And then you got to listen to them say, but I'm not a racist. And then you got people say, oh, you're a racist because he's black and all this other shit. You just don't change the race of any comic book or any character. Just leave it alone. And apparently, according to the news, the Dark Tower series may be alive on Amazon. So if you guys do like the Dark Tower that much and you have Amazon Prime streaming, you may be getting that show sooner than you think. Also, if you do have Amazon Prime streaming, I'd like to give a recommendation of The Tick. I thought The Tick was fantastic. I loved it. Much better than the Patrick Warburton one. I'd rather watch the new Tick over the cartoon. Peter Serafinowicz is a great actor. Like, if you don't know who Peter Serafinowicz is, he's the voice of Darth Maul. He's Pete in Shaun of the Dead. He had his own TV show. He's just a great actor. He's a really cool guy. He's funny, entertaining, and he's great as the Tick. I love the voice he does. Ghetto Bible, good morning. What's up, Ghetto Bible? DC copying SJW Marvel instead of a Marvel movie, or movie Marvel. Why? Well, I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but there's some reason these people are doing this. Somebody is telling them to do this. I don't know if it's just like bad decision. Is there something in the water? Are they being held at gunpoint by robots from the future? I don't know what's happening, but it's dumb that DC would be copying that formula. I mean, time has shown that no one ever gets tired of Batman. Somehow Superman is still around almost 80 years later, like right here next to me on my desk that you can hear me rumbling around. 80 years of Superman. I have Action Comics number 1000. Because of the SJW Marvel garbage, I haven't been going to my local comic book store. By the way, it's called Rock and Rooster Comics and Games. If you're in the greater Cincinnati area, I recommend it strongly. They didn't ask me to say that, but Rick and Dave are two really great owners, and they've done a lot for me, and I just appreciate them in general. But what I'm saying is, this SJW Marvel garbage has kept me from buying books. I don't even go to the comic book store anymore. I stay away from it. But when Superman hit issue number 1000, I had to be there. It was a landmark book. It was a milestone. But I also skipped out on Spider-Man number 800 because of that garbage. But I don't know what it is about Superman that helps him stand the test of time, but I'm glad that he has. And they went back to the old suit and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate that. That's the stuff DC was doing that was getting me back in. I was really open to some of the new ideas with Batman and the Justice League, and I've never claimed to be a Wonder Woman fan, but I'm fine with Wonder Woman. Like, I don't dislike her. I don't own any of her toys, but, to have a Justice League set of figures would be fine. To answer your question, though, Ghetto Bible, I don't know why they're doing this. They know Marvel sales figures are down. They have the Star Wars books that make money because they're Star Wars books, but you would think these people would want to make money. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. When I do our comic, I'd like to do it to pay off my college debt. I want to tell a good story, but it doesn't hurt if you're telling a good story and making money at the same time. Like, I don't know how, like, if you think that Diversity in Comics is doing it just because, wake up. The dude's getting paid, and there's not a problem with that, as long as he gives a good story. All of your favorite actors and writers and directors do it. They get paid. It's good. Robert Downey Jr. doesn't do Iron Man for free, does he? No, he gets paid tons of money. I'm not saying he deserves all that, but what I'm saying is he provides a service that people want and desire, and that's why Marvel pays him the money, because they want to make more money by getting people in to see these movies. Same thing with Schwarzenegger back in the day. What is the purpose of this modern shit? I'll never know. Kevathar1138, good morning and thank you. Don't change established characters, period. Agree 100%. They're established for a reason. People love those characters for a reason. Generic Edgelord, thank you. Where do you think the Star Wars spin-offs will end? I don't think they've announced anything else in terms of, like, Obi-Wan's not officially announced. Lando's not officially announced. We may already be at the end of these Star Wars spin-offs. Hydration break. We may be there and we don't know it. If it's not the case, I would be fine if episode 9 came out and then they did like one or two more to really like cleanse the palate of the fans. They just gave us some fun escapist entertainment, free from political garbage or being talked down to. Like, I would love a Star Wars movie to come out free from the garbage, and the people of the production don't talk to anybody in public. Like, they sign agreements to where they don't say shit to the fans. Just don't talk down to the fans. You guys are getting paid a ton of money. Just keep your mouth shut and keep it clean. Keep it out of it. And you could really keep and let the media know, like, don't report on shit. We don't want you to report on this type of thing. Stop making up stories that aren't true. Let the palate be cleansed. And, do 2 spinoffs, take a break, come back, and boom, save Star Wars. But I don't think they're going to do crazy spinoffs that we talk about. Obi-Wan Kenobi seems like the safest bet. And it's funny that, something from the prequels might save Star Wars. It's funnily enough that I bring that up. The other day I was on Facebook, and Star Wars on their Facebook page usually keeps posting shit about go see Solo in theaters, go see Solo in theaters. And everyone's like, the movie sucked, fuck modern Star Wars, blah, 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 and they don't want to see it. So the other day they posted a GIF of Darth Maul being cut in half and falling down the reactor shaft, and people are just commenting on, like, I can't believe they're trying to use the prequels now to deflect from how bad Solo was in the current state of Star Wars. I even wrote myself personally, I never thought I'd be so happy to see episode 1. It takes you back to a time where it wasn't as bad as we remember. Is it good? No. But man, it was better than where we are now. Yeah, it does depend on how well episode 9 does. And now there's a lot of talk about people going on about Doctor Who, the Doctor from Doctor Who being a woman. I think that's another thing. It's like all this shit is changing at once. I don't get it. I've watched a lot of Doctor Who. I don't talk about it on the channel because I don't watch anything new of Doctor Who. I watched all the Eccleston, all the Tennant, and most of the Matt Smith. Tennant was my favorite. When Joel lived here in Cincinnati, I would watch that shit all the fucking time. There are a couple women on the internet that have explained why the Doctor can't be a female. I think this is all just a PR stunt to look good for the media. I'm not saying the media is trying to indoctrinate us, like, with mass hypnosis or something crazy like that in these movies that they talk about. But it's just bizarre how everything at once is trying to change. And people are just, like, walking away to other forms of entertainment. I don't get how, like, Disney and Doctor Who, aka BBC, and all these people, I'm surprised all these people don't just, I don't know how they don't see it, that it's a bad idea. And by the way, Brian Lape, I see that it's a moist morning, and happy birthday to you, sir. So, Brian, I can't wait to have you on tonight. I'm thinking about getting myself a lot of beer, and I'm going to join you in this crusade that is Spinal Tap. I love this movie. There's a marathon of old Doctor Who on Twitch right now. Thank you, Day Wither. How old are we talking? Are we all the way back? What is it? John Pertwee? No, he's not the first one. The old guy. God. Back when I was an illustrator, I did a series of Doctor Who trading cards where I did one for each of the Doctors. It was 12 Doctors at the time. And it was cool. It sold. People were buying them. They were neat. And on the back, they came together to make the TARDIS. Stuff like that was a lot of work, but I do miss, doing the art in that time. Yes, this is what people call a culture war. I've called it a culture war. See, one thing about our channel, we've grown really quickly. I'll give a shout out to Diversity in Comics because I made a video talking about this culture war, and he gave us a shout out in one of his videos, and then a lot of people found our channel, and then it grew from there. So we've been talking about the culture war for quite a while, but here's the thing. Us, the fans, aren't going to lose it because we hold all the power. They have a lot of money, but we're their future income, and they're going to burn themselves out fast trying to do this shit. So, just remember, like, be vocal, and then don't see the shit. Congratulations to Nico Nazaro. You're finally done with finals. I remember the joy I felt when I finished finals. I remember when I finished my final and I graduated from college 4 years ago. It was a very calming moment for me. I was very happy. But congratulations. I hope you did well. Thank you to the Sassy the Spear, your first time here, and you're thanking us or congratulating us for the channel blowing up. Well, welcome. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad a lot of people are finding us. We grow a couple hundred a day, which is nice, and it just helps us have a bigger audience to talk about stuff like this. We don't have this nefarious plot. We just want to have a good time with as many people as possible, and I can't wait for everyone that shows up in Chicago next year for Celebration. Even if you don't support the idea of paying to go into the Celebration, that's fine. We're going to work it out, get a place. We're going to all get together. We're going to hang out, have a huge conversation. Maybe we'll do a live episode together, the High Council and World Class Bullshitters, and you can all watch it be recorded live, get involved, ask us questions. Just, keep spreading the word of world-class bullshitters and get the, get it out there. Cesario Japan, thank you again. YouTube, Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Curse of Fatal Death. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Sith and Curse of Fatal Death. All right. Let me just copy and paste that. I'll put that in a document right here so I don't forget that, because boom, there we go. All right, that is saved. I will check those out. I'm going to watch the Alex Becker video first because, it can help the channel. And then I'm going to watch that a little later today. Maybe I'll watch that over lunch. So do you guys have any other topics you'd like me to discuss? We got a little bit of time left on the episode. I'm trying to make these from maybe 7:45 to 10 o'clock. So I feel like that's a good amount of time. Realistically, down the road, I'd like to go from 6 to 10 in the mornings. I know it's really early, but a lot of people get to work early. I like to have it where you can tell your Alexa or whatever you go home to play our channel and listen to us as you get ready for work, on the way to work, at work. I don't care. Just listen to us. And it seems like you guys really want this. The things are blowing up. We're getting all kinds of great stuff. I will look into getting another phone line so you guys can call in, because I think that would be a lot of fun. We do call-ins or something. Two things I'd like to comment on first. Yes, Carl, I did see Doomcock's canon rant yesterday. It was so good. In fact, if you go to the comments section, you'll see I left him a message. I'd like him to come on the show. So let's make that happen. And secondly, Derek, will I ever come to Toronto for the Canucks? Yes. Anywhere we are welcomed, we will go. It is not a thing of if we'll go there, it's when we'll go there. Canada, I'd love to go to Canada. I lived in Michigan, so it's almost like being in Canada. But yeah, we'll go. We'll get together. As the channel gets bigger and bigger, once we hit that 6-figure number, 7-figure number, obviously conventions will want to have a lot of people coming. We'll get High Council, World Class Bullshitters. We'll go to the Fan Expo in Toronto and stuff like that. And people just come to the table. We're not going to be, trying to stroke anybody for money or anything. We just want to hang out with people and reach as many people as possible. So I'm hoping we get to Canada relatively soon. People are asking me about the Disney Star Wars show. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to do the Jon Favreau thing and appeal to the original trilogy audience. Maybe behind the scenes they're really trying to change and get rid of this crap. There's a lot of PR in the way they advertise for shit. Excuse me, hydration break. The way they the PR spin on this, like maybe somebody's fired, but they're told, they resigned. The public knows they resigned, shit like that. So, maybe they know they fucked up and they're trying to go back and milk what everybody loves, and hopefully we forget, but we won't forget. So we need somebody. The worst moment in Star Wars history is the present moment by moment. Kevin Thar 113 has a really good question for me. I like questions like this. I'd like to get your take on costuming, Jeff, specifically the 501st Star Wars group. I have a positive and controversial take on cosplay. I think cosplaying is cool. I think the idea of dressing up as your favorite character, being screen accurate, the hunt for these pieces, building your own suits, all that stuff, I think that's very cool and very fun. Only thing I dislike about cosplay, since I've worked at these shows, is the fact that sometimes the shows become a cosplay showcase, and the people that are either paying to be at this show or have made this show possible by being a veteran in the comic book industry get brushed aside for people's egos because they want attention. That is my problem. I know people may say, oh, that sounds so mean, but I'm always honest with you guys. That's my problem with cosplay. Now, there are cosplay channels like Cosplay Chris that I think are fantastic, and I think stuff like that is really good for people. I think it's a little much of a cry for attention when you go to a movie dressed up as your favorite character, because it's like, I get it that you want to go see the new Star Wars movie on opening night, great, but do you need to do it in a full Darth Vader suit? That's one, it's uncomfortable for you. Two, it's uncomfortable for the people around you. Three, at my local cinemas, you're not even allowed to wear masks. Like, I remember the build-up for when The Force Awakens came out, there were all these guys dressed as stormtroopers and clone troopers, and they had to take off their helmets and put their guns back in the car. So it was kind of a counterproductive thing. But I like the 501st enough. I know they have really strict guidelines, but they also do charity work and stuff like that. So that's cool in my book. That's I'm all for that. What DC heroes do I want to see in movies? I've seen Batman. I wouldn't mind a Mr. No, Mr. A is not DC. That's Charlton. The Question would be cool. A very hard-nosed political thriller with the Question. I want to see the real Superman on film. It's been fucking 40 years since we've seen that. ZX Spectrum, watch Primer. It's a good sci-fi movie with no girls allowed. I've watched Primer many a times, actually. I've seen Primer maybe 3 or 4 times. It's not my favorite sci-fi movie, but it was made for, was it something Carruth is the guy's name? Sean or Aaron Carruth, something like that. Seen it, liked it enough. I get it. It's cool. It's interesting. It was made on a shoestring budget, so it's kind of impressive what you can do with an idea and determination. But I suggest people go watch if you want some very hard time travel sci-fi type of no frills comedy like Back to the Future. Ken say, I have never looked into custom. Actually, I take it back. I've looked into custom lightsabers, but I don't own one. I would be for buying a nice custom lightsaber if they could give me a screen accurate hilt. I know I can buy master replicas, and I know I can buy the Black Series expanded ones or whatever. But here's something about me that you probably have heard. I'm really particular about stuff looking like it does in the movies. Like, even as a kid, I remember getting stuff, and if it wasn't just like it was on the show or just like it was on TV, I had a problem with it. Like, for example, there's a cartoon called James Bond Jr. He came with a gun, the toy. He never used a gun on the show. I hated that. I don't know why. I even tried to break it off, but it was like molded to his hand, so that kind of sucked. Same thing with the Power Rangers. I don't know if anyone grew up watching the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers like I did, but if you had the toys, they all had the Power Coin emblems on their chest. I hated that shit. I couldn't stand that they deviated from the show. The show looked great. Why do that? Same thing with custom lightsabers. I like that people have their own. You put your own personality into that and stuff. But realistically, I just want like a really cool one that you can fight with that looks just like Luke's and has the great sound and the light, and one that looks like Anakin's or Luke's other lightsaber, like the green and the blue, and maybe a Darth Vader. That's cool for me. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't do custom ones and stuff like that. I think it's awesome. But if I can get one that's one of those quality, but it looks dead on Luke's from A New Hope or Vader's or Luke's Return of the Jedi one, then I'm all for it. Like, that's what I'm looking for. So customizable stuff, I like it. It has a place for everyone. But for me personally, I just want a replica from what's used on screen because I like the character and I want what they have. No purple lightsaber for me. I like that Samuel L. Jackson has it, but I don't like his hilt. I think it's kind of ugly looking. Yeah, the old Force Effects lightsabers were accurate before Hasbro bought them out and cheaped them up. Hasbro, do you guys remember well, there wasn't really a controversy, but about 2 years ago, there was an online complaint thing going about how shitty the Black Series Kylo Ren lightsaber was and how a guy had to take back 4 of them to Toys R Us because they all had quality control issues. It was kind of a mess. That was right around the time I put out our first Star Wars toy video. So it was nice to see another take on the Star Wars toy situation. Evil Ash, you play with your Dragon Zord so much it started falling apart. I still have mine. I still have all the pieces. I always say this on air. I was an only child, so I played with my toys, and I didn't have anyone else to mess with them. So it was nice that I didn't have to worry about my brother breaking my toys. So all my shit is like new. Stickers intact. Nobody smoked in my house. All the pieces are there. Everything works. So I did play with these toys a lot, but they're still like brand new. Shadow Fee says, thoughts on the Star Trek TV show? If you haven't watched it yet, avoid the Modern Discovery series. Oh, I was going to avoid it completely. Like, I had no inclination to watch that show. My relationship with Star Trek is different than a lot of hardcore Trekkies or Trekkers, depending on how they want to be preferred, whatever the preferred nomenclature is. I like the original series a lot. I think it's fun. It's very hokey and campy, but I like it in the same way that I like Adam West Batman. It's great for its time. It's culturally important and relevant and stands the test of time in many ways. No one's cooler than Captain Kirk. You gotta love Spock, Scotty, McCoy, everybody who are the entire cast of the original Star Trek crew. It's just a very iconic thing. I'm all for it. Next Generation, not so much. But I wouldn't call myself a fan of everything Star Trek, and that's why I have no interest in watching Discovery. This whole Michael Burnham character and changing the lore and ruining the canon, that's the stuff that drives me away completely. Thank you, Clostic, for your $1 super chat. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm going to stay away from it completely. And the fact that it's on CBS All Access, I'm never, ever going to fucking pay money to watch CBS All Access. Pay money to watch The Big Bang Theory? Fuck that. Oh, the Twilight Zone's on. I'll buy the Blu-rays and never stream it again. Like, that's the beauty of home media. If you don't want these stupid streaming services, pay a one-time fee, get your favorite shit in high definition, and they can't take it off. They can't lose the licensing agreement. It's yours forever. Just take care of your shit, and it'll last. Alden says, hey, I'm from Detroit, and I was wondering if you had tried the Coney Island chili dogs. If so, aren't they fucking great? Okay, in last May, Dion and I went to see Tears for Fears and Hall & Oates with his wife Hillary in downtown Detroit. We ate at Coney Island Place. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about. The one we went to was on Man vs. Food. It was like, it had just little tables, and you could get your Conies and your like a can of Coke or a can of beer. It was a real small, like old school place. It was run by a bunch of like Armenian dudes or something. Very nice, very clean place, very fast service. I liked it. Now, I come from Cincinnati, where we have our own kind of chili, Cincinnati chili. There's Skyline chili, Blue Ash chili, Delhi chili, Price Hill chili. All these chili parlors exist in Cincinnati. Now, with the exception of Skyline chili, the places who say Blue Ash chili has their own chili, but they also have a full menu. Skyline chili is straight up Coney's and Three Ways. Now, a Three Ways is chili, cheese, and spaghetti. Kendo swears by the damn things. So I'm kind of colored towards the local flavor of chili, but at the same time, I'm also burnt out. I don't really do a lot of chili, but if you're talking about the place that I ate in Detroit, I thought it was fine, and I would go back. When I go to Michigan, I go to Lansing, because that's where Dion is. We'll venture to Detroit for like a wrestling show or a concert or something like that. And if you're ever in the area, let us know over our Facebook page, and we'll go get some Conies together, maybe a beer if you're old enough. Oh, there's Loudy. I saw the word Cholito, and then I was like, wait, somebody's local. And then I see it's our good friend, Coach Loudy, Eric Louderbeck. Loudy, how did you like The Incredibles 2? Tell people in the comments below. I saw you hang out with your neighbor with a great butt. Let's see. Oh, so everything else on CBS All Access airs on TV, so you're only paying for STD, aka Star Trek Discovery. Thank you, robots, for letting me know. I was never going to pay for it, and I'm definitely not going to pay for it. Skywalker chili. Yeah, Star Trek is a thing. Like I said, I know a lot of people know this, but if you grew up in the early to mid 90s, that kind of stuff really wasn't considered cool or hip. You were a nerd to like Star Trek. Like, geek culture wasn't really accepted until I don't know if I want to say Big Bang Theory, but I don't know if I want to say, like, it was all accepted post Spider-Man in terms of like the movies. People really bought into comic book movies post Spider-Man. Like, everybody was back into them. But the Funko Pops, the books, the weird shit, that was post Big Bang Theory. And I guess it's nice that it's, brought a lot of that to the mainstream, but at the same time, it's kind of diluted it too. And that's not to say there's not a place for everybody at the table, but there's a reason why this shit is popular. Keep it popular, let people find it, and then welcome them with really great stories. Blippity boop, would I be able to, or be able to hang out on the Bat Cave on Saturday night? We'll be doing E3/nerd stuff. I would love to, but we're doing our Return of the Jedi watch party. We're closing out the Star Wars trilogy, but I want you to keep asking me to do stuff because I don't want you to think I'm not interested. I just, we have a schedule and stuff I have to do because I've announced it and I can't switch it up. But I would definitely like to hang out with you guys and talk about, you send me a link, I'll come on, we'll talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. So, blippity blop or bloop, blippity blop. Make sure you guys check out that guy's channel. I don't mind if you tell people where to find you at. And I'll come on. Just shoot me an email, worldclassbs@mail.com, and put the word invite in the subject thing. And I'll try to respond relatively quickly, and we can work something out. Because one thing you guys got to take into account is I do this all the time, and I do not mind staying up late, getting up early, all that stuff. But the other guys on the channel do have lives and families and children and stuff like that. So, we have to work out our watch parties very far in advance. So if it seems like, oh, you're always busy on these days, it really is. We got to make sure we can get Dion and Kendo and Nick all together. And, if we have Brian Laper, a guest or something like that, we have to have plenty of, time because they have other responsibilities. So if you're ever trying to get me onto stuff or get me involved with your channels or whatever, you just got to give me plenty of notice. Somebody said that X-Men was the beginning of the comic book movie acceptance. I could see where you'd say that. X-Men, here's the thing, though, about X-Men. X-Men was almost embarrassed in a way of being a comic book movie, because with the exception of Superman, every other superhero movie had black leather or black latex costumes. Even Robin's suit in Batman Forever was a very dark green, maroon, shiny suit. So Spider-Man was really the first bright-colored superhero suit. And yeah, I'd say, oh, it's not that bright. It's red and blue. I've seen that movie more than almost anybody else. Yeah, it's a muted shade of red and blue, but it's a red and blue suit. It's accurate. They accepted the world of Spider-Man. That's why I'm really into that one, because they basically took what was on the page, brought it to the real world, and made it fun. X-Men was that weird post-90s type of thing, the black leather, this or that, the weird jokes. Mystique looked awesome, Magneto looked cool, and all that shit. But that movie was a hit, but I was there for it. I saw it in theaters. But the build-up for Spider-Man was like nothing you had seen before, at least for me, because I was like 6 months old for Batman 89. So the hype for that was crazy compared to X-Men. So that's why I always say that. But yeah, X-Men was the first thing. Even Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back says once X-Men hit it big at the box office, people were trying to do the properties for superheroes. I'd say once Blade hit it, because Blade was a nothing movie that came out, and realistically, we got to give the lineage of Blade more respect than we do. Blade was a great movie. It was ahead of its time. It had a trilogy. There was Blade merchandise and video games and all that stuff. Blade had it all. We got to stop acting like Black Panther was the first thing. So there we go. Don't worry, Lando. We're talking about Blade. Don't worry, man. Blade gets all the respect it deserves on this channel. You should follow up your Star Wars watch party with a Star Wars Family Guy watch party. I got that Blu-ray box set. I figure we could do that soon. I'm thinking we're going to take a quick detour from Star Wars to Indiana Jones and do a couple other famous trilogies, to give something for everybody. Because I can talk about Star Wars every day for the rest of my life and I wouldn't get bored. But I want to be able to tell you or show you guys that we do like other stuff. So Star Wars isn't going away at all. Don't worry. I'm not changing the channel to alienate the audience. I just want to expand and add more. And the Star Wars Family Guy thing is definitely a possibility. You know what? I'll say it's going to happen sometime this year. But next up is probably going to be Indiana Jones or Back to the Future. We'll put out a little poll. That's what we'll let you guys vote, and we'll let you guys vote on that, and you can determine where we go next. How's that sound? And make sure you guys have copies of the films so you can watch it with us, and we can have a lot of fun. Sam Flanagan, Skyline Chili and Montgomery Inn, 2 places you have to eat if you visit Cincinnati. I actually had Montgomery Inn the other night because my mom's boyfriend turned 60, so we went there. Montgomery Inn's a pretty good place. But Loudy and all the guys on the show can attest that my mom's a really good cook. So, if you want really good barbecue, I just would have it at my house instead of actually going out to an expensive restaurant. Because if you met me, I'd like to eat. My mom's a fantastic cook. So, there we go. I'm going to answer 2 of these. First off, the Super Chat, and then Dr. Meatball, I want to read yours. So, make sure you don't get distracted. Ashton Jones. So, serious question. When will Grippo barbecue chips start shipping outside of Ohio? You know what, Ashton, that's a funny question because you bring that up because Joel, the guy who's on older episodes, he's in our title image. Joel lived here for the first 43 years of his life. Dude loves Grippo chips. Joel's one of my best friends, too. I take Joel Grippo chips every time I see him at WrestleMania because he loves them. Grippo chips are fantastic. If you guys don't know what Grippo chips are, I'll bring some to Star Wars Celebration if you guys just keep reminding me. And they'll be free. We can all try Grippo chips together. They're just a barbecue chip, but they're really good. They're not like anything you've ever had before. And I would like them to ship outside of Ohio, so Joel can get them. Hell, Kendo, who might be listening to this right now, he loves Grippo chips. He bought a whole bunch and took them home. Loudy, in 5 words or less, what do I think of Cobra Kai? It was fucking incredible. Thank you. That's 6 words, but it was a great show. Now, Dr. Meatball, here's what you asked. Jeff, since you mentioned Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, is it possible that famed shill Kevin Smith introduced nerddom into pop culture, into the mainstream, thus ruining it? Ooh, see, I like questions like that. I really like questions like that. Kevin Smith is definitely responsible for bringing nerddom to the mainstream to a degree, but let's look at the climate where we were in entertainment when Kevin Smith came out. Not out of the closet, just, into the world's attention. 94 was when Clerks hit. And by 94, we had Spider-Man, the animated series, at least coming out at the end of the year. We had X-Men, we had Batman, we had the Batman movies. So superhero fandom and the comic book stuff was already there. Like, I know I got a video I actually written. It's called Growing Up a 90s Marvel Kid in the 90s. I'm actually going to do a Growing Up in the 90s series for you guys here on YouTube. I don't know everyone's age, but there was this big superhero movement minus the movies, and the internet wasn't coming out, or the internet wasn't out the way it was for everyone to consume. So it was reported differently, but you had like Wizard Magazine, and people talked about comic books and entertainment stuff all the time. This culture was there when Kevin Smith came out. I think Kevin Smith injecting it, or I think Kevin Smith showing people that are into comics in a different light definitely helps to be a little more acceptable. Like there's a line in Lawrence where Brody goes, just because a guy reads some comics doesn't mean he can't kick ass or something like that. I'm paraphrasing here. But he did introduce that into the mainstream. You are 100% right with that. I don't know if he ruined it personally. The way he discussed comics and stuff in his movies was a lot of fun. Chasing Amy was a pretty good representation of the weirder people that are into comic books, but I'm going to stick with the Big Bang Theory ruined it because it took people that are bizarre and just kind of, I don't know. I'm not saying like you shouldn't have people from different walks of life be in movies and stuff and show them as normal people. That's not what I'm getting at. But like Sheldon is such a douchey, shitty character, and to make him this icon of like geekdom is a problem because then you get people that want to act like that aren't socially awkward initially. Like if you're socially awkward and you're able to find your calling in comics and stuff, awesome. Welcome to the party, pal. But if you make yourself weird to be like Sheldon to try to get friends, that's not who you are. And that's the problem I had with stuff like that. Dean Holzapfel, thank you. Good morning. Judge Dredd started everything awful, but I love it. I remember watching Judge Dredd on video. So it came out in 95, so it would have been 96. I swear Judge Dredd hit video in late 95. I'm going to look that up real quick because Judge Dredd VHS 1995. I'm positive I saw that at my old house before the one I live in now. We moved in here in January of 96. So I saw Judge Dredd, but it did ruin a lot of things. But Dredd 2012 is incredible. I love 2000 AD. Like I talk about comics and stuff and loving Spider-Man. I really like old sci-fi comics from like other countries, like the old Metal Hurlant, aka Heavy Metal books with Mobius, and then the stuff from 2000 AD and Mobius's Blueberry and shit like that. Like there is a really good world of comic books out there that I say, like if you guys are tired with SJW Marvel and the impending DC Doom, check out like vintage comic books. The artistry is way better. The stories are like universal. They're really good stuff. Like don't give up on comic books completely like I did, because I'm guilty of that, but go find the old shit and embrace that. And, don't feed the beast. Check out something new. And if all of a sudden sales go up, we'll make a movie. Hopefully it won't be like Valerian. It'll be more like a Dredd 2012. Billy Ritchie. Good morning and thank you, Billy Ritchie. After the superhero movies die in 2 years, what's next for fandom? Will the geek culture die and will people like Ethan be the future of comics? Well, I hope I get involved with that too. No, all joking aside, I think Ethan will always have a spot in comics because the one thing, like the Macho Man says, the cream always rises to the top. Ethan's a great artist. I don't care if you agree or disagree with his political views. He's a lot of fun too, but his artwork is really, it's him and Jim Lee at DC. Well, now he's not at DC anymore, but those were the two best artists they had. And now it's just Jim Lee who doesn't draw very much. Ethan is in that category. To answer your question, though, what'll be next for fandom when superhero movies die out? I think they'll start adapting video game movies. Maybe they'll go back to adapting novels again, stuff like that. I think you'll have a bigger audience of comic book fans than you did before the influx of, we'll just call it the post-Big Bang Theory situation. But I don't think the fan base will be as strong because you had somebody like me who really, I bought everything they would put out in terms of Spider-Man and just go to the stores every week and spending 50 or $60 a week on comics, especially when you're on summer vacation from college and you only make, $250 a week. Yeah, it's a chunk of your check, and you got to save money to pay for school and all that other shit. Like, I didn't care. Money was no object when it came to comics. I don't feel like that. They just don't put anything out that's worth my time. So next for fandom, I'm going to go with comic book movies. They're going to start adapting. Well, they already are doing it, but they'll start adapting other weird franchises that you didn't think could a movie be made of, like Lego Movie. There's Lego Movie 2. You'll get more animation. You'll get shit like that. Fandom will kind of break apart. It'll be fractured into little segments. And, with the Toys R Us being gone, there won't be a centralized location to find, toys or representations of everyone's fandom. You'll have to go to the internet. Licensors will go to higher end stuff to make more money. So you'll get, like, if you want Star Wars toys, you'll have to get SH Figure Arts or the Black Series stuff, which Black Series is only 20 a figure arts, 40 to 70. But you'll have that stuff. It'll be fractured in that way. I think fandom is kind of coming to an end in terms of, like, the broad appeal. You'll have your little Think Geek stores and your GameStops that carry all this shit, but yeah, there's a GameStop on every corner in America. It's like the next Walgreens. But how many people truly go for the toys, or how many people truly go for the games? I mean, GameStop, games in the title. I only go to GameStop to buy toys when they're super clearance because people don't buy this shit. And here's a collector's note. If you go there, you usually can find the harder to find stuff first because people are going there for the games, toys second. So if you want my insider advice, there you go. But geek culture will slowly go away. I think we'll have another situation like we did post-Batman, where it kind of fades away a little bit. Like, so Batman, the trilogy came out, it was fine. Then we had Batman and Robin, and it sucked. But then Blade came out right away. And then we had a couple other ones, and then we had a big hit with X-Men and a huge hit with Spider-Man. So I think we'll have a similar approach to that, where stuff will kind of, it'll go on in the background, and if you're into this shit, it'll still be cool, but then something will come out, and then everyone will be back type of deal. So, but in the future of comics, I think people like Ethan, I'm going to throw, our book will be fine. It'll be cool. I'm not just saying that to, like, try to promote it. I've always wanted to be a comic book artist. I think we have the platform now to do it. You guys can check out the stories. It's a cool take on the SJW culture, but I think independent entertainment is the future overall. Being honest, all these streaming services, if you have to have 14 streaming services to get some of your shows, and it's more expensive than cable, probably you're just going to cut a couple of them and go to one or two things, and then you come to YouTube and get your other entertainment. So, cool. Use us as a replacement for certain things. Use other people for a certain replacement of things. User-generated content is the future, I think. And with technology becoming cheaper and more accessible, like, wait till we get our shit up and running. We find a way to film with all the guys and stuff like that. Like, we have a lot of cool things coming in the future. So the future of entertainment is very small, and I mean that in a good way. Blue Watcher had a good question. Morning, Jeff. Morning, Blue Watcher. Probably missed this on last night's show, but what did you think of the awesomeness coming out of E3 last night? Well, you didn't miss this last night because we never actually talked about it. I forgot to talk about it on air. I wanted to ask the other guys because Dion, Kendo, and Nick, they game a little bit. Dion the most, me the least. Spider-Man game. I think I said this part on air. Maybe I didn't. The fact that you can play in the original costume, I'm there. Like, if I can, as long as I can get the classic suit and the symbiote suit, I'm there. I'll play the game. I have a PS4. I'll play it. I'm excited enough. Not going to do Gears of War 5 because I didn't do 4. It has nothing to do with a woman in the lead. I just don't care. Once the trilogy ended, I just lost interest in the saga. I don't own an Xbox as well, so that's a big reason why I don't care that much. Let's see. What else did I think about E3? I was into that Cyberpunk game until I found out it was a first-person RPG, and I said, no, thank you. I might try Fallout. It looks kind of fun. I've played 3 in New Vegas, and I liked the targeting system with the headshots where their heads would explode and the eyeballs would pop out. Like, I really liked that. I think E3 is strong this year. I usually don't say this, but I marked out hardcore for the Nintendo shit. Smash Brothers is a day one guarantee buy. I have a Switch. It's a fine system. I fucking love Super Smash Brothers. And the fact that Solid Snake is back, I'm sold. I want to go get Mario Kart for the Switch, even though it's already out. I want to get Donkey Kong Jungle Freeze because even though it's already out, I'm really excited for those. There are like 20 games coming out, and a good chunk of them are for the Switch that I want to play. So maybe I'm reverting back to my childhood where all I cared about was Nintendo. Maybe not. But E3 looked to be pretty good this year. I need to go back and look up more information. I was hoping for the N64 Classic to be announced. I was hoping all kinds of things to be announced, but, I don't know. Maybe it'll come out in a treehouse in the future. Kevithar1138, thank you. Donation for the World Class Bullshitter Studio. It's funny? Like, you said that. I honestly have thought about what I can do in the next step to produce more content like that. So, realistically, a lot of the stuff you guys do is not being spent on like crazy toys or other things that I talk about. Like a lot of the stuff I talk about owning, I already own. Like it doesn't even come from the channel. Like, if I say, oh, my giant Millennium Falcon, I've had that for a decade. Dustin bought it for me or this or that. Honestly, the stuff for the channel is being used to produce stuff for the channel in the future. Like when we do our Star Wars Celebration video, it's not going to be just us holding our phones going, hey, check this out. Like it's going to be that. There's going to be live streaming, but we have a way to live stream in 1080p. We want to give you guys higher quality content because people like the stuff we're saying. We just want to give you guys every aspect of entertainment, visual and audio. We want to, engage. So thank you, Kevithar1138. I like how you have the 1138 after your name. Every day at 11:38, I always say, hey, it's Star Wars time, but if I said that out loud, what would anybody get from that? Claustoric says, check out Ultra Sabers. I have checked out Ultra Sabers. That's the website I was talking about. You can get some really cool stuff, but you get it's like a 95% accurate Luke Skywalker lightsaber or a 90% Obi-Wan Kenobi accurate lightsaber. And that, I don't know. It's not enough for me. I know that sounds really, I'm not trying to sound dicky or whatever, but I honestly really care about accuracy. Like everything in terms of like stuff I buy. I'm trying to think of another example that I gave you guys the Power Rangers example. Batman. As a kid, I hated the multicolored Batmans. I just wanted the one that looked just like the show. Thankfully, my grandma got me Batman from the animated series that looks just like the show. I don't know. I'm just a slave to like whatever I see on the TV. I want a representation of that, and it seems like we get that nowadays with more stuff. So, Ultra Sabers are a cool concept. I would love to play around with one, and if I could get one that looks just like Luke's, I would buy it in a heartbeat. I don't even think their prices are outrageous for what you get. The quality, I've heard those. I've seen those at conventions. The sound is great on those. The light effect is cool. It looks like so much. If I had, somebody to duel with, maybe I'd consider getting one just for the hell of it, but down the road. Let's see. Loudy's still waiting on that N64. Loudy, it'll happen, brother. It'll happen. We're getting a lot of comments about the E3 stuff. Have you commented on how Disney censored the lesbian kiss? The SSS the candidates. I'm sorry. That just threw me off. It's early. I don't know. Can you guys send me a link or something about that? I haven't even heard about it. I'll gladly check it out and tell you what I think about it. Nintendo's dropping the original Donkey Kong and that lost game. Awesome. God damn it. I gotta go to a better website than IGN for my video game news. So you weren't excited about Super Smash Brothers? I mean, if not, that's cool. Just as somebody that's not going to play, a 40-hour video game, having Super Smash Brothers is nice because I've had everyone like from the first day, and I just loved me some Super Smash Brothers. I would say that rumored Superman game never came out or wasn't real. IGN is dookie. I don't really go to IGN for their opinions. I don't trust those people or their reviews. I just want to see like the news because they're the biggest one. They get the news out early. I don't play a lot of games, so even the indie games, the stuff that people suggest are things I'm not really playing. A lot of my indie game exposure comes from PlayStation Plus, those free games you guys get. That's what I do. I don't know. I grew up with all the game consoles. I just don't do a ton of gaming. If, once I get my back room set up a little better, I might do some Twitch streaming for you guys and we can play some games that way and do this and play games. That would be even better. Because I like doing this. Not a complaint. It wouldn't go away. Just like, maybe some Grand Theft Auto or doing some like World Class Bullshit sponsored, I don't know, Call of Duty tournament or something. Just something fun. I mean, just a way to blow off some steam and meet some new people. Yes, it's very true, Derek. You can't spell ignorance without IGN. Yeah, IGN is in bed with the publishers, guys. Here's my thing. I actually wrote a video out about IGN because they posted a video on Star Wars discussing how it's okay to not be a fan or take a break from Star Wars. And I'm just like, who the fuck says this except people that, have something to lose? Saquist says, first off, thank you and good morning, Saquist. Get David Stewart on his video. Disney is killing the value of its franchise video. Real smart. Oh, I like David Stewart's stuff. And I feel bad. I contacted him like 2 years ago about getting together, and then we couldn't figure something out, and I never was able to respond back. David Stewart, I'm aware of his channel. He's very cool in my book. I'd love, you know what? Let me write that down too. I got a couple things. One thing I'll say to you guys, if there's somebody that you want on the channel really badly, you can contact them and say, hey, you should appear on World Class Bullshitters, and send them a link or something. And if those people contact us, like everybody wanted Mauler on the show, worked out. I've had him on 3 times. Mauler's always welcome. Mauler is a good dude, and he can come on anytime he wants and talk about whatever. He's very busy with his own channel, but he's always welcomed here. And you guys made that happen. I was a fan of Razor Fist, so I reached out to him. Turns out he listens to the show, so that worked out perfectly. Same with Retro Blasting, who, by the way, I hope he wins his battle with this dicky other Star Wars podcast who's lying about him. Retro Blasting is a good dude. He's my friend. I really respect his work. I respect him. It's a great channel that I'm sad is getting shit on because of stupidity. But contact David Stewart. You say, hey, go to World Class Bullshitters. Go on their show. He is welcome. I'll have him on a video. We'll give him a special live stream. Just the two of us. We'll talk about stuff, and we can make it happen. I mean, even people I don't agree with, like a Mundane Matt, could come on the show and discuss stuff with me. It would be a very interesting debate. It would be entertaining. It would be entertainment. That's what this channel is for you guys. So don't, just tell them, don't incessantly say nasty shit about come on the show and, be told how to whatever. Just, say, hey, go on World Class Bullshitters and debate this or discuss this. They're welcome. Get David Stewart. I know the guy will come on. He's cool. Alex Mote, I'm sorry. Alex Mote. Thank you and good morning. Directors think that by rebooting old films, they're paying homage to what came before. In reality, the ultimate way to pay homage to the legacies we grew up with is to leave them alone and look forward. I agree with that. It's also nice to pay homage in like a callback. Like, callbacks are fun. Like, I know this is a callback within its own universe. Remember how Indiana Jones reached for his gun in Temple of Doom and it played the little the music from the marketplace and Raiders? Like, I like callbacks like that. You do callbacks in other things. You name a character, like Dr. Samuel Loomis is named after the character from Psycho, right? Yeah. Callbacks like that work. You can show respect and pay homage to stuff like that, and don't remake it. Remaking, I think when a director tells you that, Alex, they're full of shit. I think what they're doing is they're trying to remake a movie, make a quick buck, get people interested because they love the old one. When they remake The Goonies one day, I think I'll cry a real tear of sadness. Like, really, the fucking Goonies? The Goonies works because it's a tale of friends in the 80s, and it appeals to so many people on a primal level. Now, if you have The Goonies, it's going to be, the Goonies, they're worried about diversity and this and that and the other. Like, that's how Brandon and what's her fucking face? Andy, they got the little romance going on. The kids aren't really about romance. They're on adventure. They're trying to save their the Goondocks and all that kind of crap. I think remakes just don't work because they try to take old movies, inject them with modern sensibilities. And here's the thing, just watch the old movies. They're great. 2 years ago when I was going on about Ghostbusters, it wasn't because it was all female-led. It was about because Ghostbusters is still great. It doesn't need to be remade or retouched or anything. Hell, it really doesn't need a third film. You had the video game come out. Ghostbusters is great, or was great the way it is. Remakes, reboots, all that shit is just lazy ways to make money. That's all. By the way, my username stands for the Super Smash Brothers candidates. Well, now that I know that, I'm gonna not fuck it up. So I apologize. Pat from Please Rewind. Who is that? Let me check that out too. That's not the Pat the NES punk, is it? Um, just tell them, say, I want to see you on World Class Bullshitters, and they can come on and we'll talk. Like I said, I'm not opposed to anyone coming on. We need a World Class Bullshitter Smash League. I'd get the other guys that used to be on the show, and we'd all get involved with that because Phil likes Smash Brothers, Dan likes it, I love it. We used to get together and play it at Phil's old house, and we'd get drunk and play Smash Brothers. We were all good. We could put the computers on 9 and all that shit and still win, and it was a good time. Super Smash Brothers candidate says no worries on my name, but Pat's channel is called Please Rewind. Well, let me check out that channel right now. And while I do, Miria says that's why I like the new Jumanji movie. They didn't redo the movie, and it was well done. I loved the new Jumanji movie. Not because I'm a big fan of The Rock. It's because it was essentially another movie in the Jumanji franchise, and they in no way shit on the old one. They even say this is Alan Parrish's house, and it was a roundabout way of saying like, hey, to pay respect to the originals. And it was a fun story. It just took place. They took the Jumanji idea, they reworked it to a modern video game setting. I liked it, and it was fun, and it was just a good time. That's what we need more of, a good time in the movies. Okay, yeah, I'm on the Please Rewind channel right now. Why Solo doesn't work, spoiler review. This dude's welcome. If you guys shoot him messages in the comments section and stuff like that, you can tell him that, hey, World Class Bullshitters would love to have you on. He and I could sit down and have a discussion. Ooh, he talks with David Stewart. I'm going to listen to that. Yeah, that's my watch later list. Maybe we'll get the three of us on here to talk about modern storytelling in film. That'd be a lot of fun. I know you guys like that kind of stuff, so we can make it happen. Yes, Jumanji was surprisingly good. Did I see Doomcock's video on Canon? Yes, I did. I watch a lot of Doomcock's videos because I think the voice is fucking cool. I love the mask. That guy's legit. I reached out to him to have him on the channel yesterday. So if I hear something back, awesome. If not, no. I mean, that's on them. They're welcomed. Red Letter Media guys, I would love to have them on, but I don't think they'd deal with a channel of our size yet. We'd have to be closer to them. And whatever. They do how they do. But they always have a place here on World Class Bullshitters because I'd like to ask them about the review of The Force Awakens and why they've kind of gone back on that. Honestly, between all of us, this digital playground that anyone can listen to us, this recording of, that's why I stopped watching Red Letter Media stuff, because they went on to, I was like, this is everything you guys stand against. Like, how can I believe you anymore? Maybe they've gone back on it, which some people have told me they have, but the damage was done. But I'm always willing to have them on. Yeah, I liked Karen Gillan in her Safari shorts as well. Yeah, Super Smash Brothers candidates. Karen Gillan's character was not a Mary Sue. Plus, she was a video game character, and they all had those traits. It made sense. I don't mind if you have, I don't mind that Sarah Connor was able to, use the weaponry because it told you in the story why she could, or why Princess Leia can do this or that. Like, it makes sense in the realm of the story. Jumanji, they're fictional characters with traits, so she's a fighter. There are video games where, the women characters know this, they're faster, they maybe, like, in terms like Street Fighter, Chun-Li or whatever is faster, but Ryu has more power or something like that. Like, those kind of things work. That's the sign of good storytelling, at least to me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys. Lives in Flames. I can't ignore any Halloween films in the series. I'll pretend the Rob Zombie movies are versions of real events, though. Dude, I know you're talking to somebody else, but I took my old college girlfriend to see Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 in theaters, and that was the worst date I've ever been on. That movie is just a fucking dumpster fire. I hate it. I hate it. Cecil. Hey, Cecil, what's up? Slothful Murder Chunk's family. He has severe physical and mental problems that require years of therapy. Let's press F in support of Cecil and make sure we're all subscribed to his channel, because Cecil's a cool guy. He's a lot of fun. He's entertaining, and I love when he pops up on the High Council. Oh, I needed a hydration break. Oh, Mr. the OC really loves Cecil. There we go. There's some Cecil love. You're sorry my date sucked, Grendel. You blame Rob Zombie. Yeah, well, her and I had been dating for many months at this point, so you're past the initial date phase. We kind of got to the whole comfortable thing, and that's completely fine. The movie was garbage. See, I was a big Michael Myers fan. I used to dress up like Michael Myers for Halloween. There used to be a video on the YouTube channel of me dressed up as Michael Myers scaring people, but I took it down years ago. It really wasn't relevant to what we talk about now. But I do like Halloween. That new trailer was awesome, and I cannot wait for that. Cecil needs to lay off the crack pipe, yeah. Kick Cecil, says Cecil. And yes, David Applegate, we love your channel. You guys should check out David Applegate's channel as well. David Applegate's a writer. He's been on our live streams before. By the way, let's see, what is today's date? The 15th. So it looks like the 27th of June, 2018, this year is going to be our Patreon hangout, our live Patreon hangout. So if you are a patron of the channel, any level, you guys, what's going to happen is I'm going to post a link to one of these on the Patreon page, and we'll come in and we'll cycle you out. Last time we had a lot of people waiting. So if we got a lot of people waiting, we'll just ask the first person in to go, but it's just going to be me this time, so we can have as many people on as possible. We'll have one of these live discussions in front of the world. So that'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on, again, Wednesday, June 27th. So if you're a patron, and there's a lot of you, make sure you're available to be on the show that night, and we can have some more fun. And maybe I'll invite Cecil, and he can help us close out that show. Grendel, I agree with you about how Halloween is an overall great franchise. I'll stand by that. The first Halloween is my favorite horror film and one of the best of all time. And Season of the Witch is fine. I like John Carpenter and that dark tone of that movie. That movie's fun to me. I like that over Halloween 4 and 5 and Resurrection and The Curse of Michael Myers. I like H2O a little more because it's kind of hokey and fun, but Halloween 3 doesn't suck to me, at least. As we close out the final 3 minutes, let's see. The soundtrack for Season of the Witch is cool as well. What about the current resurgence of Mexican animators and cartoonists with shows like Villainous and Legend Quest? I have not heard of either of those shows. I don't care what. I mean, I know the culture brings a certain take on entertainment. I don't care where the people come from. If they produce great entertainment, great animation, I'll watch it. But that's cool if there's a Hispanic take on it, a Mexican take on it. That's fine. I'm all for it. Just show me something cool to look at and with an entertaining story. I don't know who made Guacamole, but I love the whole lucha wrestling culture in Mexico, and stuff like that's fun. Nightmare on Elm Street was a smart retcon too. Nightmare on Elm Street was smart to retcon too. Let's see. I like the Nightmare on Elm Street 2. First, I thought about the second one itself, Freddy's Revenge. The movie's terrible. I mean, that kid, Jesse, and the girl that looks like Meryl Streep, she's kind of cute, but no, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 sucks. I actually met the guy, Robert Rustler's his name, at a horror convention. He was telling me how he used to hang out with Robert Downey Jr. back in the 80s. I wish I had the channel back then, because I could have told you guys some cool stories. I hung out with, you guys ever see that movie, The Thing? Remember the black guy, the cook, T.K. Carter? I hung out with him in a bar. It was me, my cousin, him, and I shit you not, Gary Busey, and we're all hanging out at this horror convention drinking. Gary Busey didn't drink; he had a Coke, and his son was there too. But T.K. Carter was telling me these crazy stories and all these racist jokes. It was an interesting night. But I've had some cool run-ins with some people, and I want to get back into the horror convention scene and maybe do some live streams with some celebrities like that. It would be a lot of fun. Oh, I know Mexican is more than wrestling, Spanish language, and Day of the Dead, but I like those three things. There's some lady named Patty Yinich or something like that. I watch her cooking show all the time, and the stuff she makes is Mexican food, but it's not like the traditional beans and all that kind of crap that you see here in America. It's really what they eat. She goes to these marketplaces. It's some cool stuff. I'm not going to go to Mexico anytime soon. I have no desire to travel there. Nothing wrong with that part of the world, but it's just not a place that you're going to see world-class bullshitters record live from, unless there's a big convention or something crazy that we can't miss. Same thing with I don't know, Delaware. Yay, I'm in Delaware. I'm not gonna go. Um, Thank you, Tap and Die. So, folks, if you guys enjoyed these morning live streams, that seems like you do. I don't even have to say that anymore. If you enjoy them, I know you do enjoy them. Let me know though if you want me to look into getting a phone for the for a call-in section or something like that. I would really like that. If you guys would like that, that'd be cool. We wouldn't have, it wouldn't be a full episode of call-ins, but we'd have a little portion, and the number would be public. That would only be available during the times of the show. So, it would be a separate phone for my own that when you call in the day, it won't be turned on, but when it's time for the show, it will be turned on type of deal. So if you guys want the phone, you just let me know. We can talk about anything you want. We've had it where obviously the chat dictates the flow of the show. The super chat definitely dictates the flow of the show. Like you guys saw that when people ask questions like that, we definitely give everyone their time. So if you do that, we appreciate that, and we'll make sure that we give you back as much as we can on all the questions you ask us via super chat, and then obviously here like this. And yes, Joseph Dunbar, the Wayne's World joke, you got it. So, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. You guys can thank my mom's car being in the shop and mine getting a new timing belt for the idea of our morning live stream shows like this. But I guess I'll rework my schedule to get my ass up early in the morning, and we'll try to go live for a couple hours like this. So the phone probably won't be available on Monday if I do the thing, depending on the weekend. I'll be honest. This coming Monday is a really busy day, and I got to be up late on Sunday. So we'll see how that goes. But even if I don't show up on Monday, I'll be on the High Council Tuesday. I do got to work on some videos and stuff like that. And I'll get back to the discussions like this. So don't worry. If we're not here on Monday, the show's still going to be back. Don't get nervous. Don't think I gave up on it. So the call came from inside the house. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Make sure if you like these, you're on tonight for our This Is Spinal Tap celebration for Brian Lape's 50th birthday, his golden anniversary. If you guys are patrons, you can request commentaries like we're going to do tonight with Brian Lape. So check out your perks and make sure you use them. A lot of people don't, and we appreciate you supporting the channel, but we have a lot to offer you guys in return for helping us out. So make sure you just take advantage of those things, and we'll have you on, and we'll discuss the movies you want to discuss, the shows. I know our friend Trent has a couple ideas that he threw by me, and they're great ideas. We're going to have one where we talk about pop culture memorabilia and stuff like that. Oh, wait, a Hot Toys Dooku and Yoda have just been announced. Oh, I know what I'm going to spend my morning doing looking at them. Thank you, Trent. It's funny, we were just talking about you. So, and you know what, Derek, thank you for that nice comment. I really appreciate that. Stuff like that definitely makes me want to do more stuff like this. So, thank you to everyone. Thanks for all the thumbs up. Thanks for all the super chats. Those are greatly appreciated. It's helping the World Class Bullshitter Studio. I'm not joking about that. We're gonna work out something cool like that. And I'll be back in just a few hours with This Is Spinal Tap. So make sure you guys have your movies ready. Get them on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever you're gonna do to watch it. Watch This Is Spinal Tap, and make sure you come back tomorrow night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Return of the Jedi, the final trilogy, or the final chapter of the Star Wars trilogy, and I'll be the best watch party we've ever had because we're going to be drinking and we're going to have a lot of fun. So again, thank you, and I'll be back in just a few short hours.